Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Yo, and welcome in to Hanging with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richards Honda. Got a full room here today. Josh Ward on the ones and twos, Paul O'Neill on the video, and yes, Playboy Marty is actually sitting next to me. Don't worry, Hanagriff will be here in the next segment. He had something run a little bit long, but I said, you know what? Hey, Playboy, you're no longer in AAA. You're getting bumped up to the majors for a spot start.
It feels great. It feels great to be on this side of the desk, Big Jake.
All right, so we've got a lot to get to. Obviously, LSU, obviously the New Orleans Saints. We're going to get to that. Gordy's going to hop on at 12:45. We're going to ask him about the defensive back play for LSU and also being on the sidelines in Tiger Stadium and how that environment was. We've got, of course, Hunt coming on at 1 o'clock and Chris Doering at 2:15 to talk all things SEC. But I did want to start here because I know that for a couple of reasons, Playboy Marty was paying attention to this game. Kansas City comes out of the gates firing. They beat the Baltimore Ravens 34-20. Lamar Jackson just not himself. Actually throws for less than 100 yards, the lowest total in his career as a starter. And after the game, you don't love the comments. He said, Kansas City is our kryptonite.
Tough. I mean, even though he's kind of right. I mean, what are they?
Minus
What's the exact
kinda
number? Like, yeah, I know. Like they're like 21-1 against every other team, not named the Chiefs, but 0-3 against them. I mean, they're built to compete and beat just about everybody in this league. But when you have that team in your conference, that's what you have to do. And yeah, you hate to hear from the leader.
The Ravens are that team that when they play a team they're supposed to kill, they do it. When they're supposed to win a game, they do it, and they do it in a fashion that is dominant. When they play a team like Kansas City, who's the other dominant team, they really struggle. And so many times we see this in college football, Playboy, where you'll have a team and they beat the teams that are on their schedule that they're supposed to, but then they play in Alabama.
Florida.
Or then right? And then they play that team, and it's just it all goes down the toilet. So the Baltimore Ravens, for me, they're such a good team, but they're not great yet because they have not made that step to be that great team. And it showed time and time again last night. Couldn't get anything going. And when you make them play from behind like that, because they run the football as well as anyone. And Lamar Jackson can throw the football. This isn't me sitting here saying he can't. But when he's playing from behind and he starts to press and they don't have that running game to lean on as well, they really struggle.
Right, and I mean, that's kind of the blueprint to beat the Chiefs is just run the ball, get on long, like 7-8 minute touchdown drive. You got to score touchdowns. But when you let KC get up on you, it kind of throws that out of the just completely out of the window, and that's what happened. And they didn't run the ball particularly well with their backs either. So yeah, disappointing performance. And yeah, just straight up, they had the number one defense going into today into last night too, and didn't look like that.
I think the Chiefs do such a fantastic job after they struggle, and they didn't even lose against the Chargers, right? They found a way to win that game, but when they struggle, the next game after that, they become so much more creative. They have so many weapons already. I mean, they can go 5 deep at receiver. They've got multiple backs. They've got one of the best, if not the best, tight end in the league. Oh, yeah, their fullback. Show him some love. He got a shovel pass touchdown last night, an underhand, slow pitch, softball style.
What a play that was, because you have to, because they had Tyreek in the backfield, right? And like you have to respect that. You have to show like all the respect to that, and then you leave the middle wide open just for that little dink and dunk. And yeah, that play was awesome.
So many moving parts to this offense.
And a left tackle scored a touchdown.
He did. I mean, but exactly, like there's so many parts to this offense where you can become creative and you can have window dressing all over the place because you have to fear all of their weapons. Like their 5 is as good as most people's 2. That's the problem. Like, you know what I'm saying? And they have speed, athleticism, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire just adds to that. I mean, he had another big night catching the football. And
true or false, Mecole Hardman's the number 1 receiver on the New York Jets right now.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
And he's an option we forget about with the Chiefs. And last night, he had 4 catches for 81 yards. Clyde had 5 catches for 70 yards. Tyreek Hill, 5 for 77. Kelsey had 6 for 87. Sammy Watkins, 7 for 62. Right? And so they're not having this one guy that has 140 yards receiving, and I think that's a big positive for them. So many motions, so many shifts, so many different things that take your eyes somewhere else and not on the guy who's actually getting the football. Because if I'm a defensive coordinator and I'm in the NFL, who do I concentrate on? If I concentrate on Tyreek Hill, Kelsey's going to kill me over the middle. If I concentrate on Kelsey, well, Tyreek Hill's going to kill me on the outside. If I concentrate on Clyde Edwards-Helaire and stopping the run, there's 17 guys that can kill me through the air. This team right now, man, it's hard for me to sit here and say that they're not going to be right back where they finished last season.
Right. And, if everyone's covered, the quarterback can move too. And we saw that on that first drive. They might be the most high-powered offense I've ever seen. I mean, and I'm not the football mind you are, but I've never seen anything like this, really.
I don't remember a team that just had so many weapons that were capable of beating you. Like there's teams like the Greatest Show on Turf. Well, they had weapons, right? But they had really 2 or 3 weapons that could take over a game and they could beat you. And the other guys were just nice additions. They were nice pieces to the puzzle.
Right.
This team truly has, I think, 6 guys that can take over a game. Like last night, I thought Hardman at times looked like the best player on the field. And we know he's not.
Right.
We know he's not the best player on the field, but there was times last night in this game where he did. So dominant performance from the Super Bowl champs. By the way, yes, they did cover. Hanny, if you're listening coming in, yes, they did go under the 55 points. Hanny, if you're listening coming into the show. So a win-win for
money line. Money. Yeah.
I took them.
You took the points. Yeah, me too.
I know. I'm money line.
Oh, you did? Oh, good for you.
And you said it coming in. This team might not ever again be the underdog when Patrick Mahomes is in his prime.
I don't see it happening for at least 5 more years. I mean, I think they learned their lesson.
All right, again, I said we have so much to get to. Obviously, we're going to talk more LSU football. We're going to talk more Miles Brennan. We're going to talk more about the defensive backs. Really one of the big reasons why I wanted to have Gordy on, because he was on field level, obviously playing defensive back. Want to get his thoughts there. Something real quick, though, before we do take that first break, and you were talking about it coming in, the Tennessee Titans, Minnesota Vikings both closed their facilities after the Titans players test positive for the coronavirus. The first time we've seen this in the NFL. This obviously is going to affect the Pittsburgh Steelers because they were the next opponent for the Tennessee Titans. Now, the Vikings didn't have those positive tests yet, but obviously out of precaution. And remember, we talked about it with Dr. Etheridge. They're wearing the same device that the SEC football players. So when you start talking about contact tracing, that's something that's going to play a part too.
Yeah, and I think the report said that it's 3 players and either like
I think it was the last number that it was 5 personnel
and
members, and I think it was 3 players. Yeah,
right.
8 total.
So we'll see which Vikings actually came in contact with them, but. Yeah, thoughts and prayers to my fantasy team that has Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, and James Conner on it. I mean, the Titans aren't allowed in their facility until Saturday. I mean, I guess they could go somewhere else to practice all the non-positive players, but it just seems like too weird of a situation to actually think that they're going to get that game.
So to give you an idea of how this works, and we talked about the device last week. So the Vikings and the league came out with these numbers. Contact tracing identified 48 close contacts with 8 members of the Titans who tested positive. So this device that they wear as a wristband is, look, it's as small as like a smartwatch, right? Mm-hmm. Well, they can tell how long you've been in contact, how close you've been, and if those numbers get to a certain level, it spikes, it tells them, and the data gets sent back, and so that's the numbers that they have. And so 48, that number is a little bit alarming, so we'll see what comes of this. But this is the first time we've seen it in the NFL. Now, how do you adapt? How do you move games? In baseball, it's a little bit simpler, right? Because if you miss a game, okay, well, we can play 7 games in a row like we saw this year, right? We can play multiple double headers. In football, you have bye weeks for a reason. They're in a certain place, and you throw a wrench into the schedule. How do you make it up?
Yeah, and MLB said before the season started, they were like, and if things go haywire, we're just going to go by winning percentage, and that's just kind of what we're going to have to do. I don't know how much that's going to fly in the NFL. I don't think people are going to be too happy about that. So they're going to have to make it up somehow. I really don't know. I'm glad I'm not Roger Goodell today.
I'm glad I'm not Roger Goodell every day outside of his salary.
Yeah.
His salary would actually be pretty nice. All right, Handy decided to show up. I thought because he picked the Ravens last night, he wasn't going to be here, but he is in studio. We'll go ahead. We'll take a break. Nice spot start from Playboy Marty, up from AAA, but I got bad news. You got to go back to AAA.
Got to go back. It was a spot start.
It was a spot start. You did well. We'll think about you later in the season.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll take a break. More to come here on Hangin' with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard Honda.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we tell you every single day, go ahead and get a stencil. Get a stencil. Go ahead and get it to say, call 811 before you dig. Spray it on that shovel, because anytime that you put a shovel into the ground, you've got to make that phone call. And it is set up to be as easy as possible for you. You pick up the phone, you dial 811, you tell them exactly what you've got going on, you tell them what you need done, and in 2 days, they will be there to mark those lines. And it doesn't matter if you think it's too small, because nothing's too small. Yes, if you're digging for a pool. If you're having a large project, you're going to think, call 811, but it has to be for those small projects as well. That's why we tell you, anytime you look at that shovel, make sure you call 811 before you dig. The weather's changing. Maybe you're doing something different in your garden. Maybe you're pulling up some plants and adding some fall, winter plants into your garden. Well, yes, you have to call before you have that project as well. For more information, you can also go to Louisiana811.com. The website Set Up for Success tells you everything that you need to do. It even goes into great detail about, yes, it is the law, right? All right, so it's easy, it's free, and it's the law. Make the right choice. Call 811 before you dig.
Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday Night Football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
When it's clearance time, smart customers rush to Richard's Honda because all your favorite Honda models are at fantastic prices. And with our fanatical customer care, it's no wonder people call Richard's Honda the smart choice.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Your Honda needs some TLC, and Richard's Honda is the smart place to get it. With oil changes at just $39. And with so many service bays, you'll be in and out super fast. Schedule your appointment today at
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Rohan Davies stops by for his weekly chat to talk LSU. Larry Holder talks some Saints with us, and Feinswag talks beer. 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to Hangin with Hester and Hanny. Oh, wait, you guys started the show already?
Yeah, we already did that. Yeah.
The trainer put me on a snap count at the beginning of the day. Said you've only got 11 segments and not 12 in you today. So you got to set out a segment, which one you want to start. And I thought if I sat out the first segment, that would be best because I knew I had an adequate replacement. And, you want to be able to finish strong. You don't want to set out the last segment. It looks like you kind of
How'd you feel about Playboy Marty's spot start, though?
I thought it was good.
Okay.
I thought it was good. We see some real potential there. It's got to be more consistent with the breaking ball. But, I mean, It's all AAA.
It's all about like finishing off the mound.
You know, I'm most encouraged that the trainer has cleared me for further use, because there were times, and you know, I hide it well, that playing a little bit of pain recently. So good with that. And no, I wasn't ducking because of the Ravens. Although yikes, with you know, if you're looking at those top teams and the teams you got to get past, it reminded me when he said about the kryptonite thing. It reminded me of Pedro Martinez. When Pedro Martinez said the Red Sox and the Yankees were going back and forth, but every time Pedro pitched against the Yankees, they touch him up. I mean, he was crushing everybody else, and he says, "Call the Yankees my daddy," and boy, the Yankee fans took to that.
Yeah, I remember that.
And Pedro's a Hall of Famer, and Jackson's a reigning MVP, and he said, "You know, hey man." But anyway,
and I know we have local stuff to get to, and we're definitely going to get to that. But the Ravens, to me, are not in that top tier because they beat the teams they're supposed to, which is great, but they can't when they can't take that next step, and when they get down, everything just goes to you know what.
How deep is your tier?
That's a problem.
How deep is your tier? Or is it because that matters? If you're going to say they're not on that top tier, is a top tier 2 teams, 4 teams, 8 teams?
I think if it's a 3-team tier, I don't think that the Ravens are in that tier.
Name somebody other than the Chiefs that's definitely better than them. Because I can't. There are teams that I think that could beat them on a given day.
I think Seattle's better than. I think Seattle healthy.
Okay.
I think Seattle healthy with the defensive weapons that they have. Right, Bobby Wagner, Jamal Adams, being able to keep up with all the moving parts that the Ravens have, keeping Lamar Jackson in check as much as you can. That's a team that I could point to. There's a couple that still have a question mark out there, but you just need to see them take that next step. You got to see them not only, win the games you're supposed to, but go out there and beat the Chiefs. Say, hey, we're at home. I know we ain't got fans in here, but we're at home. We're going to show our dominance, and we're going to beat you.
Yeah, that's fair. But I don't know that there's a whole lot of teams that are better than them. And Jackson wouldn't be the first quarterback that didn't take the leap in year 2 or 3. Okay, and when the leap, I mean to the Super Bowl. Okay, we've seen other guys. It took them a while to get there. So,
not saying they can't get in there, but when you start talking about teams, and the Ravens are a team that a lot of people say, oh man, Ravens might be the best team in football. There's something about being able to take that next step before you can get into that tier.
I sat over there for half of that segment. Can I tell you that it's nerve-wracking over there?
I bet.
It's like 8 screens.
Well, Paul doesn't talk. Paul's like, I'm working over here.
8 screens, 3 keyboards, and that control screen that Paul O'Neill's in front of looks like you could launch the space shuttle. I mean, this is easier than being over there. They should be better compensated, those guys, because it's complicated what they got to do over there. I don't want to sit over there anymore. That's confusing.
Well, yeah, I mean, we both get paid to sit over here, so I'm okay with that. Paul gets paid to sit over there. Playboy we don't really know what he does, but he sits over there. Josh, pulls double duty.
I understand why it's taken him. He's been training for like 12 weeks now, I think.
I think he just likes hanging with us now.
Yeah,
at this
probably
point.
so.
I think so.
This morning on Off the Bench, the news from Derek Stingley Sr. Was very good and very encouraging when it came to the return of his son, Derek Stingley Jr.
Before we knew it, he was fine. Actually ready to go right before the game started. They started doing discharge papers to get him out of the hospital. So it was scary, but it wasn't as bad as we thought it was when we first got the call and all that. But he's good to go. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to take it easy with him this week. But I'm pretty sure he may wind up playing as well. Before we knew.
So that's very encouraging. When you hear something like this, first of all, we don't know exactly what happened, okay? And they're being a little bit vague with that, and that's fine. It's personal. But to know that he was already back on Saturday, back home,
right?
Not going to play or anything, but they feel good enough about him to go back to practice. And I would think if he doesn't have any more complications, would be ready to go on Saturday.
Yeah,
at Vanderbilt.
It definitely sounds like Coach O, basically ever since the game has been over, he said he expects to have Derek back. And you can look at this game and say, what difference does it make for Vanderbilt? Why would you play him in Vanderbilt? Look, what I saw Saturday, You don't have that luxury right now. If he's able and he's healthy and he's ready to go, you got to have him out there. And Jacoby Stevens was talking about it earlier. When you have your best player out there, it gives everybody else confidence, and it allows Cordell Flott to move back to his role. It allows everybody to move back to their role that they are best at.
That was the thing, and Stingley Sr. went into a little bit more detail. I'm going to read you the quote from the second part. He said, we had some guys out there who wouldn't have been out there. Darren Evans would have probably not been out. He's brand new. He showed better in practice. You have to be ready. Jay Ward wasn't even going to dress. They had to dress him out. Then Cordell Flott worked at corner after playing in nickel all week. So when you look at it there, you say, okay, this is the ripple effect. You've got at least one, if not two guys playing that were playing more or playing at all that wouldn't have been playing, and you got one guy playing out of position. I get you. The expectations never go down. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But this is reality.
Right.
You had, instead of an All-American, you had a guy that has been with the team for 3 weeks. There's going to be a drop off, and we didn't get the news until we were into pregame, so it's not like there's something we could have discussed all week. But maybe in pregame should have been a little bit more. Okay, it was the biggest story, but maybe we didn't even make as big a deal out of it as we should.
For us, on the TV side of things, we kind of got the official word literally like when we sat down in our chairs to do the show.
I think we were two segments in. Yeah.
And so we kind of more did it as a who could you possibly see at different positions than what the impact of Derek Stingley being out would be. And going back to the news, you mentioned it of Jay Ward. We knew he was out. Obviously, now knowing that he had a procedure, he didn't look like the same player that we've seen before, right? The speed just didn't look like there. Now that starts to make a little sense. And so, again, if you get Derek back for this game, play him in this game, well, potentially maybe you can actually get Jay Ward healthier, because it didn't sound like he was even going to dress out if Derek Stingley would have been available for the game.
A lot of people were watching, though. Did you see this story? This was in regards to the ratings of this game. You think people were ready for Southeastern Conference football? This game did a monster number, the most watched college football game so far of the season. Well, okay, it's a young season, I get it. 4.4 million viewers. That's up 23% from last year, and it peaked at just over 6 million viewers in what would have been the last moments of the game. You compare that with the NBA's ratings, Major League Baseball's ratings, even some of the NFL ratings. Now, the NFL ratings are always going to outdo the college ratings over the course of the season. Not maybe you can cherry pick games, but people were ready for this to watch. And how many people would have been out on campus, would not have watched the game on TV because they would have been there? Okay, another 80,000 in the stadium, or 70,000 in the stadium, plus another
around campus. There was like tumbleweeds going across. By the way,
sure. Everybody was in. It wasn't quite like the Saints Super Bowl, but it like you said, town kind of shut down. Ever tell you my Super Bowl story? There was an LSU women's basketball game that was that day, and we have to staff it with somebody back then, and nobody wanted to staff the game because everybody wanted to watch the Super Bowl. So our GM at the time said, I'll do it. Okay. Right. All you guys watch the Super Bowl, because the game wasn't going to be over. He was not going to be home till probably 2 minutes before kick. And he says, I'm driving across town, and I get on Perkins Road at Essen, which is as busy an intersection as you will ever see. He says, I could have walked backwards across that intersection 10 times. There wouldn't have been a car. Saturday wasn't quite like that, but suffice to say that this proved what we knew, which is the appetite for football hasn't gone anywhere, and everybody was locked in to watch this game.
It's so funny in college, more than professional football, because of the high stakes of each and every game. We take a one-game sample size and just dissect it so many ways, positive or negative, right? We've already seen Mike Leach put out an official video with a bandwagon. Like, hop on the bandwagon, had the band there, and Mike Leach is always going to have fun. And I remember how many times have we given the Heisman away after one game, right? The quarterback from Kenny Thrill over there from Texas A&M.
After the Thursday night game against South Carolina.
Have we done that? So one thing I did notice, how many people after one game, you knew people were watching because Twitter was blowing up. I didn't know so many people were ready for LSU to lose a game that weren't LSU fans. I found that out on Twitter on Saturday.
You're uneasy as the head that wears the crown. I mean,
right.
you're the champ. They beat the fool out of people last year, and you don't want to see the same. There was a lot of anti-Alabama when they were winning. There was not a lot of love for Clemson when they had won for a second time, other than their fan base. No, you want to knock those guys off, and there's a little bit of rooting for the underdog. And if you're State, I would be plastering this all over everything as well.
I'd plaster the win for sure.
I'm Mississippi State.
Only Mike Leach, though.
National championship.
Only Mike Leach, though. Would you see in a pirate ship wagon with the band members in front of it with the pirate flag?
Fair enough. Maybe Lane Kiffin.
LFG.
Oh yeah, what would he have done with that? No, it's a big shot in the arm for Mississippi State, because a lot of people saw that game on Saturday, and they showed out pretty well. And if you're KJ Costello, you're like, hey, hello NFL, look what I can do. So if his draft status is going to be determined almost solely on this, is a 90% on this season, which is what Mike Detillier suggested to us on the pregame, then the first one gets a big old check mark.
Yeah. Have you had a chance to go back and watch the game?
Yeah, I watched the abbreviated version. I haven't watched it from start to finish again.
The thing that I watched a little bit more yesterday, the thing that stood out to me was how many throws Costello made on target with pressure around him.
Mm-hmm.
Like guys that were right there, almost having a chance to put an arm on his arm and cause an interception or a bad pass, and he stood tall in the pocket and delivered an over-the-shoulder throw 2 or 3 times. That was very impressive to me.
He's a big kid. He's strong. If he stands there, you're not going to be able to just, fling him around.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to bump him and throw him off of his spot. You don't have to hit him. So I agree. That's what I remember. I'm going to, at some point, punish myself and make myself go watch this again, but not today. We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Tiger Air is an independent dealer of the American Standard heating and air conditioning system. The American Standard is the most efficient unit on the market. I've been telling you about it for years because I know. It's got one in my home, and as soon as they put it in, I started to see a decrease in my energy bills. Not just the efficiency of the unit, the programmable thermostat makes sure that you will never be wasting unused energy that run your bills up. Listen, we got a little bit cooler weather this week. It's been fantastic, so why would you want to run that AC? And how many times have you gotten in your car, got halfway to the office, I forgot to adjust? You can always adjust it back with your cell phone.
Or if you're extremely lazy like I am sometimes, once you've already gotten in bed, Hanny, you can do it right there from your bed. You don't even have to get up out of bed. But Hanny mentioned the cooler weather, right? Don't shock the system. Go ahead and sign up for that Comfort Assurance Protection Plan. You're going to get seasonal maintenance. They're going to come out and make sure that your equipment is ready for whatever the weather change might be. You're going to get increased equipment life with this. Lower utility bills. It's going to save you money, and also emergency service at a discounted rate. All those priority service, by the way, as well. All that for the Comfort Assurance Protection Plan, brought to you by Tiger Air. Find out more information at tiger-air.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a RAV4 for $3,000 off MSRP. That's right, $3,000 off MSRP. And we have plenty in stock. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Join us for a Tuesday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. We're live from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street from 6 to 8 p.m. Come eat some steaks with us and say hello or listen here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Titans have closed their facilities until Saturday. 3 players, 5 team personnel members tested positive for COVID. That's 8 tests that have been confirmed after additional testing, and those who tested positive were all asymptomatic as of this morning, according to a report by ESPN. This is making big news because it's the first time that it has happened with the NFL. They have been cruising along here since really the beginning of the actual training camp at almost a 100% negativity ratio. There were a number of times where bulk testing came back in the thousands and there were no positives. This is bound to happen sooner or later. It happened in Major League Baseball. It's happened in college football. It's happened everywhere except the bubble of the NBA. They were able to put everybody in one spot. The rest of the sports don't have that luxury, and they've had to cancel games. So and they haven't canceled the Sunday game yet. I can't imagine that they won't. It's another one of those deals where you have to say, okay, we knew that this was not going to be 100%, we weren't going to throw a shutout on COVID. Right. The SEC is not going to throw a shutout. I will be shocked if the SEC throws a shutout on COVID. Said that the day that they put the schedule out. You got 14 teams with 10 games apiece. You're not going 70 for 70. This is not going to happen. Somewhere along the line, if they do, great, but I'm not expecting that. The NFL was not going to play every game uninterrupted this season. So, work the problem. There's no need to throw it into a panic. The panic-stricken headlines is like, oh, they tested. This has happened before. You got a handful of people that are asymptomatic that have tested positive. So what do? You go to your protocols. You close the facility. You may have to skip a game. Horror of horrors, you may have to skip 2. Yeah. That's just the cost of doing business in 2020. What it doesn't signal right now is, unless we get more information, is, oh my goodness, we have to get ready for the entire sport. No. If you've learned nothing from the Big Ten and the Pac-12 and all that, work the problem. Don't panic. Don't make it into more than it is. Follow your protocols. They went to unbelievable lengths to put these protocols in place. And it all included contingencies for what happens if this. Okay? So the last thing they should be saying is, what are they going to do? Okay, there's nothing I hate. Well, what are you going to do if there's another team? Then we're going to shut that team down. Well, what if it's 3 teams? You're going to shut 3 teams down. What if it's 5? Then shut 5 teams down. What if it's the whole league? Well, I don't know. Then I guess we'll all just have to go underground. Work the problem. We have seen the leagues that have worked the problems. It's worked out. It worked out for Major League Baseball.
One starts their playoffs today, right?
Yeah, it wasn't flawless. There were teams that missed time. There were teams that missed at one point. The Cardinals were out, 12 days or something like that?
We had a seven-game series in the middle of a season.
Yeah, okay. Work the problem. It will get frustrating at times. College football had to work the problem. The SEC would have loved to have started way before they did. No, work the problem, okay? If you just panic and you say, throw the baby out with the bathwater, then you end up looking like the Big Ten. Work the problem. The NBA managed to put everybody in one spot, so they were able to avoid this. And even they had individual players, going out to get wings at strip clubs. Okay, you're out. Yeah. All right, we are down to the lobby to get. Okay, you're out. Work the problem. That's what this is. If one NFL game gets canceled, or 2 or 10. That's just part of what you have to do here. If it does get worse, then go to those protocols. So this is not what anybody wanted to hear today, that there are some positive tests, but it was inevitable, and we're going to get this in the SEC at some point.
No, we for sure will. And look, we're getting into week 4. It's the first time that this is happening. It could have very easily, happened maybe in week 1. We saw it in college football happen in week 1. We saw it really happen before the season even kicked off in some places. So the fact that you're going into week 4, I bet if you ask the NFL officials, they'd be like, we got 2 more weeks than we probably thought we would get. And so now here it is. Okay, we know the problem. We know the teams. We know exactly how many people came into contact because of the devices that we're wearing. We know exactly who we need to be talking to, who we need to be testing, who we need to be looking out for. So having that technology in this instance is huge. It's the same technology. Me and Playboy mentioned it in the first segment. It's the same technology that the SEC is using, and that is a big advantage to know exactly who came into contact with who and for how long. So to me, now that it's out there, it's okay. What happens? What do you do? What do you do with the Steelers who are getting ready for that game? What do you do, obviously, with the team that the Titans just played? I'll be very curious to see how it all works itself out, because as we know, the NFL schedule is built, as tight as any schedule that you're going to see. So where your bye weeks fall, do you put it at the back end of the season? Do you push things back? I'm more intrigued with that. Obviously, they have a plan in place, and we'll see what that plan is.
There's not a lot positive that has come out of the pandemic, okay? But what we have had is some new ways of doing things, and sometimes it gets a little bit harder. But the idea that, well, we can't do that. We've never done that before. Yeah, you can. And the Houston Cougars are probably as good an example as anybody. They were supposed to play Washington State to open the season. There's a terrific piece today on the great lengths that Houston has gone to try to play football. So when the Pac-12 canceled, then they lost to Washington State. And then they were supposed to play Rice. But then Rice announced that they weren't going to start their season until September the 26th. So that was out. So then they decided that they were going to play Memphis, and then Memphis had a little bit of an outbreak, and, well, they had to postpone that. So on less than a week's notice, right about 6 days' notice, I think, from the time that they started talking till the time they actually signed a contract, they were going to play Baylor, and they almost had it.
Yeah,
they had the hotel reservations, they had the buses literally out in front of the facility, ready to go. Their equipment truck had already left, had already made it to Waco. And with, I think it was 36 hours to start, they had to cancel again. So Houston has been sitting there for now, you think, the camp from hell, 58 days and counting from the time they started practicing. And they still ain't played a game, but they're still trying. They didn't just say, you know what, we tried. After about a month, we couldn't get a game. Screw it, we're going home. No, they're still trying to work through it. They're still trying to work the problem. They are trying to get to a yes.
Yeah.
It's been a longer road for them. And so when I see this story this morning, it's like, okay, bummer, but work the problem. Doesn't mean that
That's a tall task on that coaching staff to keep his guys engaged for that long as well.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how many game plans they've had to cut and erase from their memory to try to get ready for the next game? Mentally, that's very, very difficult. Holgerson, I don't envy that challenge of trying to get your team ready to go that many times and have them let down. I can tell you, and look, honestly, you don't have to play college or pro athletics to have this feeling. How many times growing up did you have a youth baseball game that got rained out right before it happened and you were just bummed for the rest of the week? You come home from school on Thursday, you'd put that uniform on, you'd be ready to go, and all of a sudden here goes, the sky falls and the game gets canceled. Man, that messed up my whole weekend. You imagine that times about 100.
It happened to us. We had this was a JV football game. I was in the ninth grade, and the principal comes on the intercom and says, the junior varsity game has been canceled because there's lightning in New Iberia. And I'm like, man, we're practicing all week. We're ready to get on the bus and go. Dana Holgerson, who, if you know at all, has got some personality, right? He's not when they asked him again last week. He's like, what about, he goes, it's 2020. We're used to this crap.
Hey, well,
that's honest.
Hey, that's Gordy's guy. Gordy's going to come on next segment to talk a little defensive back play. That's Gordy's guy. He'll give us like a inside behind the curtains kind of look on what he probably really thinks.
They're all drinking buddies. So them too. They got a unique
water.
Right. Of course. Take a break. Come back. Hanging with Hester and Hanny. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
GoTro's Outdoor Power and their friends over at Skag offering you an opportunity to get on the best zero-turn mower on the market. Whether it's residential or commercial, Skag, and of course GoTro's is an independent Skag dealer, you're going to be so pleased with this unit. All the things that it can do, the comfort of the ride, the speed at which it operates, and now an opportunity to get into it affordably because they're offering 60 months interest-free financing at both locations of GoTro's.
All your needs can be met as well, residential or commercial. They've got a piece of equipment that is going to fit exactly what you need. Obviously, Airline at Industriaplex in Baton Rouge, Airline at 74 in Gonzaso locally. Go check out the showroom. Go check out the Skags they have available for you because, as we always say, no matter what your needs are, they're going to be met. But you can also go to GoTrosOutdoorPower.com. If you're listening to us throughout the state of Louisiana or watching on CST, we tell you every day, free delivery. So find that Skag that you want, give them a call, and let them know they will deliver that to your door. That's GoTros. We make it easy.
Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, after further review and more, are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat driven by Bayou Ford.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Hi, this is Chance Inman, President and Chief Operating Officer for Janikin Gulf Coast. Here are some ways to protect yourself and those around you from the coronavirus. Wash your hands often and thoroughly. Cover coughs and sneezes with your elbow. Disinfect high-touch surfaces regularly. Use non-contact methods for greeting others. And avoid touching your face. Following these steps, as well as social distancing, should help all of us stay healthy.
Service Mastery Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Mastery Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Mastery Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Rohan Davies stops by for his weekly chat to talk LSU. Larry Holder talks some Saints with us, and Fines Walk talks beer. 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
They're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling.
All right, we're going to catch up with Gordy Rush now. We've got to hurry up and get him out of here because Tottenham and Chelsea play in about 45 minutes, G.
That's right. We've got that afternoon blocked off to see some exciting FA Cup action.
Hey, Gordy, I wanted to have you on, obviously, because you're on the sidelines. Obviously, you play defensive back, so I want to get to that, but I want to start on the sidelines. What was the feel of the game? Because I was in the press box, and so there was some sounds of the game that I could hear all the way up there that obviously I would never be able to hear in a normal game in Tiger Stadium. How was the feeling on the sideline, though?
I think it was louder than I tell you, I was louder than I expected. And, of course, I've got – in one ear I've got the sports radio network. So I didn't hear all of those things, but talking to some people that listen to the radio broadcast, there were noises that you normally couldn't hear. And, I think the same thing as we've seen on TV. You can hear coaches and you can hear a little bit more talk down there.
One of the things that stood out to me, G, in pass coverage, obviously we'll get to the man coverage, but even when it was man, you had some guys that were trying to do a little bit too much. And I mentioned there was one play where Jabril Cox was following one of the drag routes, even though he had Kylan Hill in man coverage, thinking he could maybe play both of those receivers. Kylan Hill catches the ball on a rail route and gets a big gainer. And Jabril Cox came out today and said, look, sometimes you can't play the ball. You got to play the man. And there was things like that, really in the second half, guys trying to do too much in man coverage. And we can talk about the adjustments later, but did you get that feel from the sideline?
Oh, no question. I mean, there was breakdowns in technique all over the football field. A couple 3 plays that I picked out to talk about today. We'll talk about the long touchdown that was a crossing route in which Elias Ricks had a Mississippi State receiver that basically ran a mesh route. And what State was doing, especially on the outside guys, they were running really 2 routes. They were running a mesh or a crossing route, and off of that, they'd give a head fake, and then they would run a go. In this case, it was a mesh route crossing across the middle.
I think we lost G there, but that's something, Hanny, that we talked about yesterday. It wasn't really complicated. It was a mesh route, like a shallow cross with a rub, and a go route. That was that. So, and I thought yesterday when I turned it back on, I'd see something different, but it was more the same.
He's back.
Hey, so finishing on my thing with Ricks, and what happened, he was on him in a good position, but he started peeking at the quarterback. Yep. And in man coverage, you've got to keep eyesight of your receiver. You got to stay with him and find a way to catch a glimpse of the ball, but you can't lose eye contact with the receiver. What it does, it slows you down. So he winds up losing a step in man-to-man coverage, and then he doesn't realize that the receiver didn't flatten that route off. He got some depth with it, got about 5 more yards. Costello threw a ball over his head. He caught it and ran for a touchdown. I'm with you with the same thing with on the well-called route by Leach, in which they ran motion and Kylan Hill out on the flare route, and both Ricks and Cox take the motion guy, and nobody takes Hill, and he runs for a touchdown. And finally, the last touchdown of the game, Jay Ward is out there in corner. He's 5 yards off. Now, the way I was always taught, and games change, either you're playing bump and run or you're playing 7-by-1, inside or outside. 5 yards, kind of the dead man zone.
Yeah.
Rule of thumb for DB, your cushion is 3 yards. Once he breaks 3 yards, you got to turn and go. On that play, and that was after the timeout, Ward is at 5. He squats. The receiver runs by him, is 2 steps behind him before he opens, and it's, at that point, it's too late. It's a foot race, and he's lost. And so I would tell you, and I haven't seen the full film, we'll do that tonight for CST, but the technique on a lot of these younger, inexperienced defensive backs against a Mississippi State receiving corps that was well coached, kept it simple, and ran technically good routes, they were exposed.
Gordy, there's 2 times in football you can't turn your hips to the sideline. One is in pass protection because you're going to get beat around the corner. The other is when you're playing press coverage as a corner. That was something that I saw. And look, Evans has been on the team for 3 weeks, and I realized he was put into a very difficult spot. But some of the times he was in press coverage, that's what we saw. Immediately turning his hips to the sideline and not getting a hand on the receiver.
Yeah, and that's right. If you're going to play bump, a lot of times you're going to play bump, you got to take away the quick slant. And he cannot cross your face like that. And how many times did we see LSU defensive backs and chase position? So, I mean, you throw that in with it seemed like, and Charlie, you watched it on television. I know Charlie charts it, and I'll see tonight film-wise. Look, Coach O's admitted to it. There was a whole lot of man, and surprised that Pelini has run some quarters and 2 shell a lot in his career. Did it with Stelton Company in his first set here. That he didn't mix it and run more of that, because I think one of the things that people have learned to do against these air raid offenses is to play a little softer and just knock the living crap out of these receivers on all these mesh routes. And sooner or later, hopefully, they're going to hesitate, or quarterback who I thought Costello obviously had a great day, but he was loose with the football. He was taking some risks. And we had 5 turnovers. Maybe he throws an errant pass. I think to mix it up might have been the better recipe. But, look, it's easy for me to say that in hindsight, but those were my observations.
Was that the biggest surprise, G, in the last one, that they didn't make those adjustments? They didn't go to some type of a zone just because you were struggling so much in man coverage against routes, G? And when we lost you there, I was talking about it. You weren't going against really difficult routes, shallow crosses and go routes.
No, I mean, it was really a simplistic game plan. Look, I was really surprised with that. And look, on the other side, I know we're not breaking that down, Mississippi State, I thought they were pretty simple on defense, and they showed the same look and did several things out of it, right? And I think that was the difference. LSU, when you got the line of scrimmage, you knew what they were playing. They were playing man free. Or they were playing zero, or whatever it might be, that they tipped it off. State with that 3-3-5, it was hard pre-snap to see what they were doing.
Is that why Brennan held the ball so long? Is it because he was not recognizing what they were showing him?
Charlie, before I jump in and answer that fully, that from the sideline to me, it looked like they took away his first and second option. The linebackers were dropping underneath of those. Underneath those short routes, those high percentage slants and the first and second option, and a combination of whether it was anxiety or it was getting flushed, it just never progressed to option 3, right? With that New Orleans offense or whatever you want, it's 1, 2 to the play side. 3 is usually a receiver that is sitting right over the center, the tight end, think Moss or someone like that. 4 is on the other side, and 5 they call your guarantee. I want you to think about a flare to Kamara, and it just never got past 2 in this game for whatever reason.
And we said this on the show. LSU, in the script, gets Brennan comfortable, and he can progress from there. Leach is smart enough to figure that out and say, okay, we're going to take away the easy options. If he throws the ball over our head, he throws the ball over our head, which he didn't do there at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, and the surprise was I think LSU's inability to run the football in the first half. I think they had some success in the second half because they were able to run the football. And for me, he looked most comfortable in a pistol-type formation, right, where it was play action, 2-3 steps, and he's either throwing the intermediate route or twice. I believe both of his touchdowns. I know one of them to Marshall the ladder score that went into the south end zone was exactly out of that pistol formation. To me, it just looks more comfortable from that.
They ran the ball on first down a lot more in the second half than they did in the first half, and I want to say it was I got the number here somewhere, but it was something in the area of a 12-4 in the first half on pass, and got down to 12-10 in the second half, and they were behind for a lot of that.
Right. Well, that's some of it, but also keep in mind, I think what they recognized in the first half is what we talked about. Those linebackers and then the safeties were jumping the slants and the curls and those routes, and if they're doing that, you should be able to run the football. If they're playing at 3-35, they've got 3 defensive linemen up there. You should be able to run the ball.
Here it was, halftime, 24 passes, 14 runs on first down. In the first half, it was 10-4. In the second half, it was 14-10. So there was a concerted effort there. And listen to yesterday. I think there'll be even more of one next week. Gordy, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you tomorrow night on Tiger Zone.
Okay, guys.
Back after the top of the hour. For hour number 2, we're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
When it's clearance time, smart customers rush to Richard's Honda because all your favorite Honda models are at fantastic prices. And with our fanatical customer care, it's no wonder people call Richard's Honda the smart choice.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, It's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Your Honda needs some TLC, and Richards Honda is the smart place to get it. With oil changes at just $39. And with so many service bays, you'll be in and out super fast. Schedule your appointment today at richardshonda.com.
Callahan Injury Lawyers. Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
And we're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny. If you're listening with us up in the Shreveport area, in 1130 The Tiger, watching on CST or on our YouTube page, 104.5 ESPN, or the Hanging with Hester and Hanny page. And Hunt Palmer, as the baseball playoffs start, it's so appropriate to have you step in here, right? When the baseball playoffs are starting.
I would much rather talk about baseball than football. So you want to do that?
No, but nice try. I was a little bit relieved that the Cubs weren't on today. I thought I saw a bad schedule at first. I thought they were on today. They're not on until tomorrow. But I've told you multitask really well.
I do. They're on Thursday.
Like tomorrow, you get to sell insurance while you're.
That's correct. I'll definitely be pushing a lot of product tomorrow during the Cubs and Marlins game.
All right.
Professor on the mound. We're fired up about it.
You had the network post game. Give me your read on what you saw Saturday and what the vibe was after the game, because you had people in the stadium.
So. Let's go to the vibe first, because the football's been hashed, and we'll do it again. But I think there are a lot of people that weren't in there and were watching on TV. First of all, I want to say this. Logistically, LSU did everything they could. I had no traffic going in. I had a parking spot. I was a little bit late. I knew kickoff was at 2:45. Most people in their head it's at 2:30. So I got in there at about 2:35, 2:36 after leaving TJ Ribs. But I literally walked up to the gate, and there was not anyone in line. And they punched my ticket. I had my CDC scan. I went up to my seat. They had seats roped off. I knew where to sit. The concessions were a breeze. They did everything they could. The game sucked. The environment sucked. I hated it. It was not fun. And it's nobody's fault. That's just the reality that we're in. But that's really what I thought. It was sterile and boring, and it's not a big deal for me, because I'm going to go to these games for years and years and years and years and years. I feel bad for the players. And specifically, I brought this up on the postgame show. Jabril Cox spends his college career at North Dakota State playing at that level and wants a shot at the big time. He said it today, I wanted to run with the big boys. He said that in an interview today. He has a pick six in the first quarter of his game in Tiger Stadium playing for the defending national champion LSU Tigers, and he runs into a wall of cardboard cutouts of people's dogs. I feel terrible for him for that. And this is going to pay off for him, because he's a heck of a player, and he's going to put some great things on tape, and he's going to be a rich dude, and it's going to work out okay. And so none of this is anybody's fault, and it's not worth crying over. But I'm just, for people that weren't there, that are curious for the environment, my opinion was that it was terrible.
And what can you do?
Nothing.
It's 25% of a stadium that is known for being packed and for its atmosphere. And you feel bad for Cox. It's a good example, because he only gets one year of this. The freshmen, when Gilbert and Ricks signed and others, this is a big part of the draw for LSU. But they're going to have other chances. I would hope.
And Terrace Marshall's already seen this, and
the rest of his career, the rest of their career as a freshman, I'm talking about, will be inside this atmosphere. But for now, no. Was a little bit encouraged that last week the governor of Florida loosened their restrictions. There may be more people in the stands. LSU is doing this on a game by game basis in the hopes that they can boost this by the time the season is over, and maybe they will, maybe not. Who knows?
I wonder what it looks like 8:00 kickoff against Mizzou, though.
I was a little sad to see that.
You were sad. This guy over here pretty much curled up.
Yep.
Well, and I don't blame him.
And it's going to be we're going to make a time adjustment on our coverage, but yeah, I have done the pre or post game literally at every hour of the day at some point. We once started a pregame show at 5 a.m. and we once finished a postgame show at 4:45 a.m. So I've been there, done that. But no, it's not my it's not my preference. And if you do go to the game and the game ends at 11:30, then hey, you're not going to be in traffic.
No.
So
look, and I think that if you want to go, and if some people had a different experience, that's great. And it's certainly something I'll never forget is going to that stadium and watching during a global pandemic. I was so disappointed by it.
Did you said you knew that CBS was going to start the game at 2:45, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay. Because I hate CBS's national coverage of the SEC with a heat that would burn 1,000 suns, that they draw this out so badly. Mm-hmm. And for ESPN gets a game, it's a 2:30 kickoff, you kick the ball at 2:32. Okay. If it's a monster game or something like that, you might kick the ball at 2:34. ABC gets a game, 2:30 kickoff, kick the ball at 2:35 at the absolute latest. Okay. ESPNU, ESPN2, it's all 2:32.
The Ocho.
Yeah,
football game.
Whatever.
Haldane's my producer, and he sent me a text right before we went on. He said 2:45 start, go to 2:10.
NBC does a Notre Dame game, 2:30 start, kick the ball at 2:33. CBS for years has kicked the ball at 2:39.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and now even that's not enough. Okay, now it's got to be 2:45. I mean, how long before it's 3:00? And we have to do 3 extra promos coming in from every break, just to make sure. We have sat here and done this for years. We'll watch a Big Ten game at 2:30 and an SEC game at 2:30 start, allegedly, at the same time. Big Ten game finishes. People in the locker room, fans trickling out of the stadium, and we go to the fourth quarter
we're striking up the band, baby.
In Gainesville. I hate CBS. Hate CBS. The day
I'll know who's not working for CBS ever.
The day I'm not talking about the local CBS affiliate, okay? You know, Steve and Jacques, those guys are Craig, those guys are great, okay? I'm talking about the national CBS network that puts college football on, that their contract is coming up in 3 years, and there's been rumors that they may opt out before that. I'm going to throw the biggest party. I'm going to be so happy the day CBS is out of my SEC life. Sorry.
That's all good.
We didn't even get to No Clash yet. We'll do that later in the hour. I should have saved it, okay? Where was I?
We were talking about the vibe, and then eventually we're going to get to football, which I'm not excited about.
I did want to ask you how the post-game feel was, because I didn't have the chance to listen to all the show. I did listen to most of Hanny after the post-game. What was kind of the feel and the reaction from the fans?
Well, it's just back to normal. You know that you got to fire the coach. I'm getting, Ogeron was over his head. I'm getting Pelini's, the game's passed him by. I'm getting Brennan can never play. It's just, that's what I'm used to, because that's the way that sports fans function. The second something goes wrong, everything's, and nothing, it never happened last year. So everything was perfect. And so it's expected. I'm getting a bunch of, questions about buyouts and whatnot, and I'm just going, okay, let's just.
You're not serious, are you?
Oh yeah,
you really.
But they don't. That's how people are wired. They've had 14 drinks and they're going to tweet into the show. Like, I get it, it's fine. But it's just, it is what it is. It was very normal feeling. I've done the post game after State ran us off the field in Starkville. I've done the post game after Troy. When you lose to Troy, things are a little bit different because there's just no way to slap any lipstick on that whatsoever. And we did, and I didn't on Saturday. I said, look, that's anyone they put on scholarship in purple and gold, in my opinion, should be able to go out there and beat Mississippi State. I know in my heart of hearts that it's going to be difficult, especially when you start adding things up. But they got totally out-coached and totally out-executed in every phase. They were very, very lucky. The score was what it was at halftime, because State had turned it over a couple times, won flukishly, and it should have been a lot worse than it was. The yardstick certainly was, and they fought back and they made some plays in the second half, but they had no answer on defense for a number of reasons. And I think it's fair to talk about the fact that when Bo Pelini put his whistle around his neck the first day of spring ball, which they had two, he had Shelvin and he had Farrell and he had Logan and he had Kerry Vincent and he had Stingley and he had all those guys, and then all of a sudden he didn't. but it's just a couple of those guys aren't coming back, so you got to play with what you got.
It's fair to be critical and without completely going off the deep end. If you say, hey, that was a really bad performance on Saturday, and they've got to fix some things, to me that's completely fair. This guy can't coach and he's never been able to coach. I mean, okay, I'm sorry. There's too much of a track record there suggesting otherwise to make that kind of claim. But I'm not going to say, oh, well, they gave up over 600 yards through the air. Well, nothing's wrong. No, something was wrong. It was plenty wrong. That's not suggesting that everything's wrong or nothing can be fixed. I think we've asked a lot of pointed questions, okay? And I think there's some answers to some of those that make perfect sense that are by some referred to as excuses. Okay? Well, that's just an excuse. Yeah, no. There's a difference between Derek Stingley and Darrell Evans. Okay, Darren Evans. I'm sorry, there just is. Yeah. Well, that's just an excuse. No, that's reality. Okay,
and I just said it, so I'm guilty of the same thing. But it makes it if Florida or Alabama would have come in here and the game looked the same and the stat sheet looked the same and you lost by 10 points and people would go, man, they just got beat by a better team. But then when Mississippi State comes in there and does that, it just feels different. And that, I think, is part of it, too. For my entire life, we don't lose to Mississippi State. And then all of a sudden we've lost to them 3 times recently. That's the way that people my age are kind of programmed. You should never lose to that team.
And that's not reality. Alabama under Nick Saban lost to Ole Miss twice in a row. Okay, it happens. It's from time to time. You catch a bad matchup, you catch a bad day. It happens.
Kind of staying with the schedule and who you're playing, who you're supposed to beat. So these next 2 games, obviously you're supposed to win these games against Vanderbilt and Mizzou. So for the team, I think that's a gigantic positive that you have Vanderbilt and Mizzou right now coming up on your schedule. But as a fan and on the outside of it, there's nothing they can do in these next 2 weeks that's going to make you forget about Mississippi State.
Well, and as a fan, sure. This was another topic we had on the pregame show. You get up and do the early morning workouts and grind the film and go out there to practice and put in all that work to go out there and play in front of 100,000, and that gives you the juice and the energy to keep going through the season. That ain't coming. It's going to have to come from that locker room, those players, mainly the players and some of the coaches, to bring your own energy and commit to playing this season. And as things go wrong, responding to adversity, I think, becomes increasingly difficult because there's just not as much juice in the season.
Brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a RAV4 for $3,000 off MSRP. That's right, $3,000 off MSRP. And we have plenty in stock. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Do you know someone who sets a good example for all of us to follow? Someone who, without being asked, shows leadership, selflessness, and service to their community? We believe that's the definition of a good citizen, and so does Citizens Bank and Trust.
So, if you know someone that sounds like what Gordy was just describing, nominate them to be your good citizen, and they'll have a chance to win $500 from Citizens Bank and Trust. Plus, we'll mention him right here on the show. So go to citizensbankandtrust.com for more details and nominate your good citizen.
This is a house call. This is a test result. This is a prescription refill. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare. Start your virtual visit today at Auctioner Health.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, We've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one, but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
Join us for a Tuesday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. We're live from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street from 6 to 8 p.m. Come eat some steaks with us and say hello or listen here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. First class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
That no man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
My life had become like school on Sunday. No class.
I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
First class, second class, and no class. Brought to you by our friends over at Relief Telemed, relief for businesses that have frequent interactions with the public. Restaurants, retail stores, service-based businesses that can't afford to be shut down and send home employees. Relief's COVID mitigation platform takes the hassle, chaos, and stress out of having your employees tested for COVID. It starts with a video visit with a physician and ends with a custom action plan for every employee. And through a dashboard, you know exactly when your employees can come back to work. They offer on-site and off-site testing options, and it worked for you as well, Jake.
You're exactly right. Our walk-ons in Shreveport, I'll tell you, every single week, they got us back to business, no missed time. And also now, college, universities, they're looking for the best testing, the best rapid results, where they're going to Relief Telemed, not only in Louisiana. Go out to California, Santa Ana School District, the unified school district out there. You're talking about thousands of students. They chose Relief Telemed as well. They can do it for you. They did it for me. Go ahead, relieftelemed.com. Find out more information.
All right, first class. Hunt, we'll let you lead off this
All right,
week.
I'll lead it off. This is something that gets brought up once a year, and it's kind of under the radar, especially here where we're not exactly a tennis-starved community. But
where is this going?
they're playing the French Open right now, and I'll just bring this up. Rafa Nadal has played 95 matches in the French Open. Would anyone like to venture his guess in 95 matches?
In 94-1?
93-2.
93-2.
In 95 French Open matches. I don't have anything more to add to that other than it needs to be mentioned as it's going on. It's one of the most unbelievable things in the history of sport. Rafa Nadal going for what I believe would be his 13th French Open title. Pretty good.
That's really good.
Pretty good. First class.
My first class goes to the Kansas City Chiefs. And stay with me a little bit here. In the first segment, we talked about the Chiefs and all the weapons that they have. But one thing that's different to me than other powerhouses that we've seen across sports, they're not really hated. The Patriots hated, the Yankees hated, the Lakers hated, Alabama, Clemson hated, right? There's so many dominant sports teams that are hated. Look, I played against the Chiefs. That was the division I was in my entire NFL career. Nobody really hates the Chiefs.
I hate their kicker.
And well, because of betting. But they do it in a way where everybody's involved, right? The entire team feels like they're involved in what the process is. They've got a very likable head coach. They've got a quarterback that we've never really seen a talent like him. He's incredibly humble. Says all the right things. When you talk to guys who have been his teammates, say, no, he's been like that since he grew up in Tyler, Texas. And I just think that they're doing it a different way. Look like they're having a hell of a time doing it as well. So shout out to them for not only being dominant, but for people not hating you being dominant.
Harrison Butker makes 58-yarders, his eyes closed 3 times in a row. I need something to go over the total.
Maybe you'll start listening to Playboy Marty
yards. And I. One of the bright spots on Saturday for LSU was number 11, Ali Gay. He ended up with 2 solo tackles and 1 assist, but the 2 tackles were both for loss. One of them was a sack, and he knocked down 3 passes. And I don't think that stat line does any justice to the game that he had. Ali Gay was all over the place. He was a constant source of pressure for LSU on a day where not a lot of guys on defense were playing pretty well. So good debut, good start for Ali Gay. What do you guys have?
You're cheating on me.
What?
I had Ali Gay for my second class.
How can you give that second class?
Good with a chance to be great.
You're tough to please, Hester.
Ah, man.
Okay, because he had 11 pressures. That's an insane stat. 9 hurries, 1 sack, 1 quarterback hit, 2 batted balls, and 3 run stops. Now, I couldn't give you first class because there were 623 yards through the air. That's why he's not the first class, even though he had a great individual game. It's a team sport, but definitely, going to be great. If that is a sample size of what he can do, I told you I went back and watched the film, and there was chaos around Costello. Well, a lot of it was because of what Gay was doing to the tackle. I'm not going to sit here and talk about penalties. I thought
they missed about 30.
I was about to say, I thought there was a couple times you could have thrown some yellow laundry on him being held as well.
For sure. Let's do some word association, guys. When I say the word, what do you think? Bieber.
Justin.
Yep, that's what I thought you might say. Let's go ahead and change that association up. The Indians have a pretty good pitcher here. Shane Bieber in a 60-game season led the AL in wins, win percentage, ERA, strikeouts, ERA plus, fielding independent pitching, hits given up per 9 innings, and strikeouts per 9 innings. That's pretty good. He's going to win the Cy Young, and he might win the MVP in a 60-game season because of what he did for the Indians. And then most importantly, that's the good. Be great if he could help snap the longest Major League Baseball World Series drought, which is now 48. 1948 was when they last won. They had a chance in 16, but were nowhere near good enough to win that 2016 World Series.
Who'd they play?
Well, the world champs, championship organization. When you run up against an organization like that, you're probably going to lose. And so they did, but they got a chance this year to run through the AL and try to win a World Series for the first time since 48. If they do, it'll probably be a lot because of Shane Bieber, second class.
LA Clippers let Doc Rivers go last night. Rivers, they fell short of expectations this year. They thought that they had an NBA Finals club and a potential world champion there, and they didn't get it done. They blew a 3-1 lead. But there were 2 teams that reached out to Doc Rivers immediately after he and the Clippers parted ways, and one of them was the New Orleans Pelicans. Doc Rivers, in 20 full seasons as an NBA coach, has made the playoffs 17 times. He's been the head coach of 7 division winners. He's got an overall winning record in the playoffs, which is a lot more uncommon than you would think. Has won an NBA title and made it to the finals another time. If Doc Rivers is available, you got to go and you got to take a look to see if you can get him there. Longtime player in the league. Doc Rivers has basically been in the NBA since the early 1980s as a player or a coach. There's not a whole lot of guys that are more respected than Doc Rivers. I've heard a couple of different opinions about him since last night about whether or not the Pelicans should really take a look. And if you're arguing that he's the only coach that's blown 3-3-1 leads in the playoffs, then you can stop right there. The whole idea around the Pelicans right now is change the culture, make a winning culture. And Doc Rivers is a winner. He's won a ton. I just gave you some of the top of the resume stuff, but if your take is that, well, he's fallen in the playoffs sometimes, let me tell you something. In 18 years in New Orleans, they've won one division title. One. Rivers has won 7 in 20 seasons, so about the same amount of time. He's won 7 times more division titles, okay? He's made it to the finals. He's won in the finals. He's made it to the conference finals 4 other times. Man, look, if you can get that guy in there, and Lord knows that the players will respond to him. Nobody doesn't respect Doc Rivers. Then you got to make that. You got to make that happen. I don't know if he wants a job. I don't know if he wants to go to Philadelphia. It's an easier conference, and maybe he feels like that's a better job at this point. Maybe he wants to sit out a year. Who knows? He's 58 years old. He can do whatever he wants. He's accomplished pretty much everything you can accomplish as a head coach. So the fact that the Pelicans this is the first real move that we've seen them make, that they have gone out and actively sought an interview. And we heard all during the playoffs that David Griffin was going to take his time because he wanted to see what was going to happen. Well, maybe this is what he was waiting for if the Clippers didn't make it. A lot of people thought that it would be for another coach, that it might be for Mike D'Antoni, which I didn't think was a really good fit. This one,
please no,
would be well, I don't think. If this is what he's been waiting for, then God bless. I'd be all in if Doc Rivers came down there. I don't care about losing a 3-1 lead. It's not his fault that Paul George couldn't hit the wide side of a barn in that series. Give me that and continue the culture building in New Orleans. So it's good that we've got a report. It'd be great if they could get him as a head coach.
Coaches don't look so good when your team can't make buckets in basketball.
It's a lot harder.
Can't shoot, you don't win very often. Got a no class here. One of the things I love about Twitter is that it's something of a bat signal. Like, if something's going on, I can be alerted to it even if I'm not paying attention to it at a given moment. One of the things that I generally do turn on in the summer is playoff hockey and when it gets to overtime. Because every time down, it could be the end. I don't care about watching the first 3 periods. And so this happened on Sunday. I'm going through the house. We're doing some moving some things around, and I refresh my Twitter, and I see Cody Worsham put in his on his Twitter, "Go win it, Joe." I said, that's probably the Bengals. I flip over to CBS, which we didn't get the Bengals game, but the CBS game had ended, and they did have the Bengals on. So I was like, well, I'll sit down and watch this. I watched them have the ball for 3 drives. That's the worst offensive line I have ever seen. I got upset about it.
Yeah, I put a missing poster out there.
Let the man play. They can't block anybody for Philadelphia. Now, I looked up the stats. They're the worst in terms of sacks given up, and I would be shocked if any scout or any coach looked at it and said it was Burrow's fault for holding the ball. Fletcher Cox is running through there like it's a wind sprint, knocking him down on 3rd down. The biggest no class to the Bengals offensive line. Block for the man.
If you can't block Fletcher Cox, you've got a lot of company. That guy's an all-pro, but it's the rest of the guys. They ain't blocking any of them either.
No class.
That offensive line is so bad. As you were talking, I was watching a clip of no-hitters, more than Sandy Koufax for that offensive line. All right, my no class was going to be Tristan Hills, the defensive lineman for the Dallas Cowboys. That's where I wanted to go, and I thought about it because, look, first off, he has no swag, no armbands, no wrist tape, no gloves, no nothing. Wearing number 72. Only Glenn Dorsey can pull that off. Had a late hit really on Russell Wilson, got him a flag. Did a gator roll on the Seahawks running back and injured him. So get ready because you're getting yours because offensive lines stick together. So the next Cowboys game, he'll get his. So I don't have to include him in here. My no class goes to everyone calling LSU one-hit wonders on Twitter over the weekend. And, yeah, Isaiah Simmons, you deleted the tweet because Patrick Queen called you out because you did get your ass whipped by 2019 LSU. But let me tell you here, big boy. Since 2000, Clemson's won 2 national titles. Florida State won, Oklahoma won, Miami won, Ohio State 2, USC 2, 1.5. Texas won, Florida 2, Auburn 1. Auburn's really the one-hit wonder if you want to have a conversation about one-hit wonders. Alabama's won 5, okay? LSU's won 3. So in the last 20 years, and played for another, LSU has won more national titles than any team outside of Alabama. Ain't no one-hit wonders. There's no Vanilla Ice here. There's no walk like an Egyptian here. There's no 8675309 here.
Tommy Two-Tone.
Okay? There's none of that. They are not one-hit wonders. They are a program that plays for championships every single year, Mr. Isaiah Simmons. You need to worry about tackling people on Sundays because you got put in your place by Patrick Queen. One-hit wonders? Dude, do some research and don't delete your tweet. If you're going to put it out there, be a man and leave the tweet out there.
He's 3 games in, number 8 pick in the draft. He's played 34 snaps on defense. They're talking about moving him to safety.
Did you see how fast he got ran by? The one of the 34 snaps that he played.
No, I'm
for a home run.
Look that up during the break. I want to see it. I don't like to play uniform police around
Ooh,
here.
This
is really that's not my thing. I know a lot of people get into that, but we're sitting here doing pregame, and I see Ole Miss come out for the first time on Saturday. Listen,
baby,
you've got an opportunity here. You get blue and red. You got a color scheme that can make for a lot of attractive uniforms. I think Ole Miss's uniforms, the navy blue with the red trim, is an attractive uniform. Yeah. I think it's a classic look, and I think that's a really good uniform. So they decided to go to the baby blues on the jerseys, which is also fine. You can make a very nice looking with the light blue. The Chargers have done it. The old Houston Oilers have done it. You can make a very nice uniform out of that. What you can't do is you can't make the jersey that color and keep the navy blue or the not royal blue, but that dark blue on your helmet. Now you look like you got dressed in the dark, okay? I mean, so my no class, if you'd have gone with either of those colors on the helmets and the jerseys, you'd have been fine. You decided to, I don't know who's dressing those guys up at Ole Miss because they came out in those uniforms, and then Kiffin came out yesterday with his
LFG.
Well, did you see what Kiffin went to the game in? He's wearing a blue baseball jersey and gym shorts.
You know what? I don't remember. I would have remembered that we were doing pregame while it was on. So no, I didn't see that. If I'm the AD, we're having a dress code meeting at some point.
Well, just go look up in the student section. They're all wearing suits. That's what you're looking for.
Gus Malzahn wore a tie. Give a little shout out to Pat Dye.
That was good.
Okay, he wore a tie. Yeah,
that's fine.
Or a button-up shirt.
Okay, good. Take a break. Back on the other side. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
GMFS Mortgage, GMFSmortgage.com. Right now, with interest rates at historic lows, and they're not going to stay here forever, you've got a unique opportunity to pounce right now. If you're in the market for a new home, you're going to have more purchasing power right now. If you're looking to refinance your current home, you're going to stay there long term, you're going to be reaping the benefits of these interest rates all the way until you are done paying for your house, and in the short term, the ability to skip a mortgage payment or two to free up a little bit of cash. Construction loans are also available right now from GMFSmortgage.com. It's so easy to get this process started. Sit with a personal counselor locally, and they'll ask you what your goals are. What are you trying to get accomplished? Then they'll get some information from you. The whole visit takes probably less than 10 minutes in most cases, and then you can be off to decide exactly how you want to accomplish those goals. They'll work with you from there all the way through the closing, and I think you're going to be really pleased at how fast that process goes. Do what I did and do what thousands of others have done and start that financial journey at GMFSmortgage.com.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Rohan Davey stops by for his weekly chat to talk LSU. Larry Holder talks some Saints with us, and Feinswalk talks beer. 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
I told a big old lie on Twitter on Monday.
It's true.
He
I did.
He said, "Oh man, it's too bad you guys are at Sammy's. I was going to bring you lunch," which was a lie, because we know, because Hunt doesn't do that, and he hasn't done it again today. But Hunt doesn't lie when he's talking about Hungry Howie's.
Never. The Hungry Howie's app is as usable an app as I've got on my phone. So functional. You can, first of all, create an account so you can accumulate points and win free pizza. Who doesn't like that? You can do so many things on it. You can build your own pizza, customize your order. You can set your pickup time. You can set your delivery time. It's just add everything to your cart. You can check out, store your credit card number in there, pop it in. Makes ordering dinner, ordering lunch very, very simple. So get that Hungry Howie's app. Make your life easier ordering some pizza. We tell you about the great deals they've got. They've got 3 medium one-topping pizzas for $5 a pizza. That's $15 for 3 pizzas in that carry-out special. $8 for a large 2-topping pizza. Hungry Howie's just south of campus on Nicholson, hungryhowies.com. And like I said, download that Hungry Howie's app, bringing you Hanging with Hester, Hanny, Hunt, Tuesday and Thursdays.
Did you, the playoffs started here about 30 minutes ago, and for some reason we're still watching
Jeff Passan.
Oh,
I thought Playboy Marty likes to watch his stories. I thought he was watching Days of Our Lives.
Yeah, if you could put that on channel 5 right there, I'd appreciate that. You said the Twins have gone 13 straight in the postseason?
Yeah, I think it may be more than that, but it's at least 13. They have lost 13, and they always play the Yankees and they get swept. 3. That's statistically almost an impossibility for an organization that's had that type of talent and been run as well as they have to not just luck into winning one.
Doing anything in baseball 13 times in a row, I mean, outside of like routine throws from short to first, okay?
Unless you Chuck Knobloch from second to first. But
13 times of anything in a row. Well, they're all too, well, they could be all too.
I've got it here. Entering Tuesday, the Twins have lost 16 consecutive postseason games, 13 of those to the Yankees. 13 in a row to one team. Jeez, that would drive me nuts.
Things do tighten up a little bit in the postseason. It's kind of bizarre to think about playoff baseball. Mm-hmm. And first of all, we're still in September.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't get that. And then but the positive thing about this is, I think Jimmy Ott got on the phone with the commissioner's office and said, "Hey, stagger the games." And so you are going to have games starting every hour to 2 hours from 1 o'clock our time until 6 or 7 o'clock our time for the next
tomorrow
week and a half.
Tomorrow
probably.
is 8 straight hours.
Braves start at noon.
Braves
start at noon tomorrow.
The Dodgers,
11.
The
I'm sorry,
Dodgers,
11.
You're right. It's
Actually
11.
And the Dodgers are at 9 o'clock our time.
That's right. So,
by the way, Hoot.
Yes.
You get the worst seed, and you get to play the Marlins.
That's right. Oh,
Braves
got
got to
your hands
play
full.
the Reds with
I'm
2
just telling
frontline
you.
starters in a 3-game series.
3 frontline starters. They're a handful.
One can be erratic.
Castillo throws 98 with a devastating changeup. I don't want any part of the Reds.
And you get the Marlins.
Absolutely.
You're probably tanking. As bad as y'all looked to end the season, tanking for Tua.
I didn't want the Reds.
Said the baseball version in Miami.
With all of these short series, man.
It's a total crapshoot. One
really.
3-run homer. Shortstop kicks one 3-run homer. That game's toast.
And you don't have a whole lot of whole lot of margin for error.
I mean, if I'm a Dodgers fan, I feel great. I have the best team in baseball, and we're playing a team that was under 500 in the Brewers. But I realized in game 1, if after 7 innings I'm losing, Hader's coming in for 6 outs. And he gave up, I think, 4 hits this year. The Cubs had 3 in 1 inning. He hadn't given up a hit all year, and the Cubs got 3 in 1 inning off him. But hit back-to-back homers. But it's just...
But who's counting?
That's just a tough deal. Look at Braggs coming in making a play.
Saved him.
Yep.
Little roller down the third base. Twins had bases loaded with 2 outs, and Bregman on a roller, bare hand throw across in one motion and get the runner. So
Can I briefly touch on Alex Bregman?
Would you briefly touch on
That's
Alex
a
Bregman?
guy who, in high school, played catcher and showed up at the #1 baseball program in the nation, and they said, I need you to go play shortstop now. And then he played shortstop at LSU for 3 years and then went and played shortstop in the Astros system. And for 8 days prior to being called up, they said, go play third for a bit. And then he goes and plays third at basically a Gold Glove level. That's unbelievable.
And if he doesn't slice his finger up as a high school senior, probably never makes it to LSU.
That's
probably
right.
never goes to college at that point. All right. We got a little bit behind last time, so let's make up a break here, and we'll be back on the other side of this. We do have a little bit of LSU baseball stuff to talk about, because Paul Maneri had his fall press conference before they start practice. That's next here, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Tune in Thursday night as we kick off Week 4 when the New York Jets host the Denver Broncos. The NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The EnviroPath plan is a proactive and bold campaign to get businesses and schools open safely. Darren, why is it so effective?
The EnviroPath plan is a combination of sanitizing technology with OSHA and CDC compliant employee training to produce a workplace that is safe and ready for people to come and visit and spend their money at.
So what makes this different than a company coming in and spraying chemicals all over the place?
Yeah, great question. You know, we knew right away that this was an airborne problem, mainly. It also is a surface problem, mainly it's airborne. And so coming in and spraying your office or your home down with chemicals is the wrong approach. You're missing the problem. The problem is in the air. And that's exactly what Active Pure addresses.
The EnviroPath plan is available to you. Call 225-610-0702 or go to enviropath.world.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Do you know the proper way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in your office? We do. We're Jani King, a leader in the cleaning industry for over 30 years, and we've developed comprehensive programs to address proper cleaning and disinfection. We have experience in applying disinfecting programs in hospitals, office buildings, schools, and other venues. Now we're ready to help and able to assist customers that need disinfecting services.
The king of clean.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Join us for a Tuesday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. We're live from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street from 6 to 8 p.m. Come eat some steaks with us and say hello or listen here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Every year before they start fall practice, Paul Maneri gives an update on the LSU baseball team. As it turns out, they had to quarantine for a little bit. They had to stop some activities, but they're ready to go now. The scrimmages are not going to be open to the public the way they usually are, but we do have a few minutes here, so we wanted to give you some information there. This was Paul Maneri earlier today talking about this year's roster, which is obviously allowed to be expanded.
Our roster is posted, and we have 40 guys on our roster. And I think Alabama has their roster posted, and they might have 35. So we're only 5 over the limit. A lot of teams don't have their rosters posted because they've got 50 to 60 players at fall practice. Can you imagine that? So really, we're not in a terrible situation. We're in a really good situation, I think. I'd rather not have too many guys and then have to deal with, in, out, in, not giving anybody a real chance. I'd rather be leaner and count on the guys that we recruited, and let's make this work.
I mean, if you had 60 guys out there, 55 guys, you'd have to send half your squad to U-High's field to get reps. I mean, for inter-squad stuff, that would be – I mean, it sounds nice to have that many options, but we don't need that much. You got to have the talent that you've got, and I think that they're in a pretty good spot there. But he's right. Having that many guys would be intimidating.
If there are SEC rosters with over 50 players on them, you can book it. There's going to be a big
purge at Christmas.
Yes, there's going to be a huge transfer portal overstockage at that. Of all the things about this team that I know is that and it's not a lot because you didn't have a season last year. You had 17 games or whatever it was. But the one thing I do know is if this team is going to be really good, then Jaden Hill is going to have to be the catalyst. And I've said it a million times. There is no way you can win big in college baseball if you don't have a number one starter. You can have holes anywhere else in your roster and maybe be able to overcome them. That ain't the place. And Jaden Hill, who's looked at as a top 10, if not top 5 pick in next summer's Major League Baseball draft, is going to be the guy they put out there on Friday night. And Paul Maneri didn't hold back when he was talking about Hill's potential.
When I talk about the best athletes I've ever coached, I talk about Jeff Samardzija back at Notre Dame. I talk about Chad Jones here at LSU. you could put Jaden Hill in that same category. This guy's 6'4", 225 pounds of just a chiseled body, throws the ball extremely hard. He could, if we had him hit, he probably could hit a bunch of home runs. He was a great high school quarterback that could have played at colleges. And so everybody's just got such great anticipation and waiting to see Jaden actually do it. He's going to get the opportunity to do it. In my heart and my beliefs, I believe he can replace Cole Henry as the Friday night starter for us. What we want to see this fall out of him, not only to pitch well, but to pitch with some length and be able to hold his stuff for a period of time.
That's the whole thing with him, Hunt. When we saw him last year, this year, I should say, just for that short period of time, we saw him in a closer's role, but an extended closer's role. He threw those 3 innings he threw against Texas were eye-opening. It was like, wow. And as hard as he throws, it's not even his best weapon right now. That changeup is ridiculous for somebody that's his age.
So is a slider, and he threw that a lot against Texas. And it goes back to a very simple recent example. We saw the same type of stuff from Zach Hess when it was his first time out there as a closer. And when you asked him to go out there and throw 7, he was a nice SEC starter. Was he a dominant SEC Friday night guy? No, he was never that guy. He did it a couple times.
Hess, it wasn't I never thought it was a durability issue with Hess. I always thought the fact that he didn't have another pitch.
Yeah.
He did not have a consistent off-speed pitch, and I thought that's what hurt him second and third trip through the lineup.
And sure, and Hill has proven that he's got 2 that absolutely play with a third, and so he's got the tools. And when you look at Baseball America's college prospects, it's the top 3 are the same just about every time you look at it. It's Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter, Al Leiter's son at Vanderbilt. They're top 2. And then it's Jaden Hill. Those are the 3 guys that come up in the top 3 just about every time you look at a college prospect deal. So I don't know what's the high school ranks, but Hill's thought of that highly, and he certainly has that kind of ability. You need him at the front end of the rotation for sure.
Listening to the entire thing with Mainieri, you can make a pretty good guess at what most of the lineup looks like. Milazzo won the catching job a year ago. Beloso's entrenched at first base, and Doty will be at second. Dugal will be in left. Probably DiGiacomo in center, and Cruz in right. But that does, and then whoever's a DH is whoever's a DH. But the one real competition that's got probably multiple guys vying for a starting job is shortstop.
Well, I think that we got to start with shorts. I thought Collier Cranford did really great things last year when he stepped in and played super over at Minute Maid Park, the 3 games over there in front of big crowds, and showed a lot of poise. Didn't make an error in 40 chances. And towards the end of the 17 games, he started swinging the bat a little bit better. So, I know what Collier can do, but Zach Arnold and Jordan Thompson are going to give him a run for the money at shortstop because they're really good players too. But if you throw in Will Safford, 2 of those 4 guys have to be our starting left side of the infield. So shortstop and third base is one of the first things we've got to figure out, what's going to be the best combination there.
You have a rooting interest?
No, I have some thoughts. I mean, Arnold and Thompson, Arnold who was on campus last year but got hurt so didn't play, and Thompson who's an incoming freshman in this class, are the toolsiest of the bunch. Collier Cranford's not going to wow you with anything he does when he gets off the bus, but neither did Kramer Robertson. He was a fine shortstop at LSU, really good. It's in AAA. Well, would have been in AAA this year. So that doesn't mean everything, but I want to see what those guys can do. I won't get to in the fall, but Cranford was solid. But right now, it's probably more of a solid player. I think the upside's better with the other 2. I really want to see Arnold. I think he's got a chance to be really good. And Thompson, I think, can be a really good defender. He's got a huge arm. But it's 2 spots, so they're not all competing for one. They've got third base and shortstop to try to figure out, and they've got 4 options now.
Arnold was just about ready to come back when they shut everything down. He had, was it the rib injury that they took out a rib? I think.
Yeah, that sounds right. I couldn't keep up at the end of last year, but he was. I've seen him one day in practice in the fall, and he's 6'2", and he's got some smooth infield action to him, and I've seen some tape on him. He's got some tools. That doesn't mean anything when they get out there and start throwing 94 miles an hour. You may have no chance, but it looks the part.
Probably won't have many other days in the fall where we're talking about baseball. We're just doing this today because this was the day that Mainieri did. We'll probably get one more after
anybody
the
over at
Purple
LSU's
Gold World
listening.
Series.
It'd be okay if you videoed a couple of the practices for people, or if you wanted to send out some TrackMan tweets. That'd be okay if you want to do that.
You got Cody Warsham's number, don't you?
I do. I do.
Call him. Sounds like your guy for that. All right. Before we get you out of here, some early thoughts about Vanderbilt. I know you were really excited watching them play Texas A&M the other night.
Well, that was a Texas A&M thing, not a
yeah,
Vanderbilt
because you're
thing.
just an angry individual.
Well, I just need A&M to fail, and that would have been just a colossal failure. But look, Vanderbilt's going 0-10. They're terrible. They played in College Station, and they got 3 turnovers. They scored 1 touchdown. Yeah, they were in the game longer than they should have been, but they had a 4-man quarterback competition. They started a freshman who's running all over the place. It's just, they're bad. And you ought to go up there and just absolutely lay the hammer on them. But we'll see. I'll have some more specific information on Thursday, but I'm not going back to watch that game from Saturday because I don't want any of that information, and I'll get to Vanderbilt later this week, but not early in the week.
Hester watched the game again. He's going to make me do it again.
Nope.
I'm being punished for something, I think.
No, I mean, you have to, because the first time you watched it, obviously you're going through different emotions. And the second time you go back and you watch it, you're trying to break it down to see what went wrong, who are the players that were out of place.
Punishment.
Which ones. Well, it's not, I'm not doing it. It's, it's just doing some research. Like tomorrow, we've got Sam Pittman coming on our SEC show. So I had to go back and watch Arkansas and Georgia. That wasn't a fun game to watch because it was kind of a bad played football game, but you have to do it. I don't think he's going to be saying that tomorrow morning.
He's going 0-10 too, by the way.
Enjoy your Cubs game. Thanks for coming.
I sure will. See you on Thursday.
All right. We'll take a break. Chris Doering with us in hour number 3, hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but 2 NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge. Innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
$11,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford F-150. Buy a new one for less than a used one. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Callahan Injury Lawyers. Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Twins and Astros are scoreless in the top of the second. The day on the diamond caps off Indians, Yankees, and a matchup of two of the best pitchers in all of baseball, explains ESPN's Tim Kirkjian.
Shane Bieber is going to win the Cy Young Award unanimously in the American League, and he should. He's got a 1.63 ERA. He's got almost 100 more strikeouts than walks this year, and he's going up against Garrett Cole. And let's not forget, Cole was good this year. He was great in September.
Indians, Yankees, 6:45 Eastern ESPN Radio, 7 Eastern ESPN TV. Titans and Vikings, who played on Sunday, both shut down their facilities after 3 Titans players and 5 team personnel tested positive for COVID-19. Vikings have no positive tests so far. The Steelers, slated to play at Tennessee Sunday, said the league told them to continue to prepare for that game. The Broncos will start Brett Rippon at quarterback Thursday night against the Jets. Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert out indefinitely with a fractured ankle.
Coming up Wednesday, Week 3's in the books and Week 4 is right around the corner. Why someone is coaching for their job on Thursday Night Football. Wednesday, 6 Eastern, Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin, ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Back with you for hour number 3, hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, 1130 The Tiger in Shreveport. And if you're watching along with us on CST or on our YouTube page, hanging with Hester and Hanny, or 104.5ESPN.com, welcome in. Chris Doering will be with us in about 15 minutes from now. In the meantime, let's play a little SEC True or False. You ready?
Sure.
Okay. Don't. All summer. Just give me games. Just give me games. Just give me games. I got 7 games that I can talk about. So we're gonna do a little SEC True or False. True or false? Bo Nix is a better quarterback now than he was at the end of last year.
False. There's just something missing, and I know he's got the great streak of not throwing an interception, over 200 pass attempts, but it still doesn't just look like a player that they're comfortable with putting in a situation to go win the game. There's something still missing. Do I think he can be a great player? I do, and I think actually Chad Morris's offense is better suited for his abilities than Gus Malzahn's was. So the jury's still out. Still a young football player. You can see the talent, but there's still a little bit missing from his game.
True or false? JT Daniels will start Saturday for Georgia.
He won't start. He'll play in the game.
Okay, so you're going with the law firm of J. Stetson Bennett?
I think he'll go. I think he will. I think he finally got his jersey tailored. I think he'll be in the game. He played actually pretty well once he came in, albeit against Arkansas. But JT Daniels, he got cleared for a reason. He'll be involved in the football game.
All right. True or false? KJ Costello will throw for over 450 yards this week.
True. He's playing against Arkansas.
Well, Arkansas held Georgia's passing attack in in check pretty much. I mean,
different. Mathis it was very erratic. He had open receivers, couldn't find them. Once Bennett came in, actually, like I said, he played pretty well. So I think Costello, because they're going to throw the football the same amount of times. Like, that's going to happen. Every single week we would turn on the stats and it'd be Washington State quarterbacks throws, for 423 yards and a 17-point loss. So it doesn't matter, like win or lose, they're going to throw the football.
True or false, the best team in the SEC right now is the Florida Gators.
Ooh, I like that one. I want to say true, but not quite yet. I think defensively, I need to see the yards you gave up and the points you gave up, and some of them were once the game was already well decided, but still I need to see, was that because Lane Kiffin is, really good play caller like we think he is, and he's got some good offensive weapons like we think he does, or is it some holes you have in your Todd Grantham-led defense? But let me just tell you, I thought there was two teams that on Saturday looked elite in the SEC, and I thought it was Alabama and Florida.
True or false, Tennessee and South Carolina are essentially equal. Not programs, teams.
True. I thought watching that game, there was a lot of parity.
So I ask you this because the point spread was the lowest in the league this week. We thought this was pretty much an even game. It was pretty much an even game. If these teams played 10 times, I could see each team winning 5. I mean, I don't think you'd have a big disparity. So if we think that these two teams are essentially the same, and Pruitt's going into year 3, then why is Tennessee seen in so much greater a light than South Carolina?
It's a great question because obviously they're the team that everybody talked about in the offseason. I think because this recruiting class for them is a big one. They're really doing a nice job on the recruiting trail, beating South Carolina there. I think the buzz of winning 6 games in a row probably created some of the monster of the offseason hype. And I also think South Carolina went out there and they got Colin Hill to be their quarterback to kind of be that steady team, right? Not going to wow you, but probably going to stay in a lot of close games and try to beat you in a close battle, a 17-14 type victory. Now, there's some guys on South Carolina. They had a nice recruiting class a year ago. Jordan Birch is a guy that LSU wanted more than anybody, right? So they've done a nice job in recruiting, but Tennessee has all the hype because of the win streak and the recruiting they're doing this year. But I don't think there's that big difference in those two teams.
True or false, Texas A&M's biggest problem may not be Kellen Mond.
I think the problem, no, I think it's Kellen Mond. Kellen Mond's the problem. You've got some opt-outs and you've got some receivers missing, but man, I've never met the young man, and this isn't just me just piling on, but I've heard too long that you were coming and that you were the guy and you were going to make this leap. He's supposed to be better than Joe Burrow a year ago, right? That was the conversation. Who's the 3rd or 4th best quarterback in the SEC? It was kind of the conversation between those two players coming into the season. I don't see it. And don't blame it on the running game. Isaiah Spiller had over 100 yards and didn't have double-digit carries. It ain't the running game, right? And sooner or later, you got to start looking in the mirror. What am I doing wrong? They got some talent that's out. I understand that at tight end and receiver, but it just looks clunky.
True or false, Matt Corral will throw for over 3,000 yards.
True. I like the game plan. We all got duped, and we did it to ourselves. We talked about the other guy all offseason, and I'll raise my hand the highest because I talked about him more than anybody. Matt Corral came out there and looked like a real SEC talent, looked like a real quarterback that they've got a plan to throw the football, push the ball down the field. And, yeah, John Rice Plumlee is more athletic than him, but he's plenty athletic to run all of Lane Kiffin's offense. I was really impressed with what he did on Saturday and impressed with Lane, how he called the plays, how he used his personnel. Again, though, defense just optional in Oxford. That's going to be the problem all year long.
True or false, the Kentucky Wildcats will have a losing record at the halfway.
False!
Halfway.
False!
At the halfway point of the season. And let me give you it's Ole Miss, Mississippi State, both at home, at Tennessee, and then against Georgia. I would argue that 3 of those games are very, very winnable. If not, give you an outside shot at the 4th. You're 0-1, so you're in the hole. True or false, they'll have a losing record at the break.
False, Hanny. I can't go all in like I did.
You're not done yet,
and then
right?
jump off the ship that quick. My goodness.
Okay, so which ones are they going to win?
We'll talk about that later. But
follow-up question.
Okay, that's not a true or false. Okay, this is SEC true or false.
Okay, true or false? Arkansas is going to go winless in the league. You've seen them once now.
I think true. There was improvement. There was fight. There was grit. You have a team like Georgia down at halftime. I tip my cap to you, but I can't find a win for you. Okay, Mississippi State's coming in off a very high win. We all know that. Then you go, and you're on the road, by the way. Then you go to Auburn. And then you play against an Ole Miss team that look like they can score on anybody. Then you go on the road to College Station, Tennessee, Florida, LSU, Mizzou, Alabama. After that, I thought Mizzou looked like a more complete team than you did. And so that's your opportunity at a win if you get one, in my opinion. So right now, I don't see a win.
It's tough. It's tough to get to one. All right, last one. True or false? At least one more game this year will have a 7-5 halftime score.
False. What? You got a better chance of hitting a lottery, I think, than another one.
2 7-5 games. Texas A&M and Vandy was 7-5 at the half, and Arkansas and Georgia were 7-5 at the half. And you might go another 10 years before there's another 7-5 game at the half. So SEC True or False is brought to you by Supreme Rice, supremerice.com. Support our Louisiana farmers from down in Crowley in southwest Louisiana, still reeling from the after effects of Hurricane Laura. Supreme Rice is delicious, whether it's the long grain, the brown, or the jasmine rice, which is our personal favorites for your jambalayas, for your etouffees, for your gumbos. And we got a little bit of cool weather coming here, so always make it Supreme Rice. It's very easy to get at all your Walmarts, at all your Costco's, at all of your AG food dealers, and now at Robert's on Highland Road, right next to Superior Grill. It is available. Stretch that food dollar and have delicious dishes while you're doing it with Supreme Rice. All that rice grown, milled, and processed right here in South Louisiana. For more information and great recipes, go to supremerice.com. Chris Doering, when we come back, this is Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you by Garcia Roofing. Since 1992, Garcia is that roofing option you can always trust. And we've been telling you over the last couple of days and weeks, right? They did such a good job for me when they came out and they inspected my roof. We know that they can give you a full roof replacement, but don't forget about their roof repair. If you have a roof that is leaking, they can absolutely fix that, right? No job is going to be too small for Garcia to come and check that out. You're always going to get the Garcia guarantee as well. You can find that Garcia guarantee and a list of services at GarciaDidMyRoof.com, Hanny.
Roofing, but also siding and gutters. They are the largest residential roofers in South Louisiana, in Baton Rouge, also down in New Orleans and on the North Shore. So roof now and pay later. Call 756-3100, or for more information, go to GarciaDidMyRoof.com.
Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday Night Football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Here at at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Mathern's grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Rohan Davies stops by for his weekly chat to talk LSU. Larry Holder talks some Saints with us, and Fines Walk talks beer. 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Chris Doering from the SEC Network joins us here on Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Chris, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, guys. It's amazing, isn't it, man? We were looking so forward to the season and so much we thought we knew about what the season was going to entail. And even today, I think we learned some things we didn't think and still have some question marks about other teams and other dynamics within the conference. So it's a real-life soap opera here that we deal with now.
Well, that's a good place to start then. Give me one or two top things that you know now that you didn't know when you talked to us last Tuesday.
Well, I'll say one thing. I was wrong about what I observed from other conferences in their first couple weeks of play. Like, the defenses definitely had the advantage, and I was of the opinion that these offenses were going to struggle a little bit, primarily because of the limited time together in the offseason, the lack of spring, a couple different schools having new schemes and new coordinators. Like, I really believed that it was going to be an advantage for the defense, but it was quite the opposite, really. I mean, I thought the defenses overall were the weak points. Outside of maybe Georgia, Texas A&M looked all right against a limited offense for Vanderbilt. But all in all, I was really pleased with just how good the offensive play was and the quarterback play specifically. Like, we thought that there was going to be maybe a deficiency at the quarterback position this year. And certainly there's some questions at certain schools, but I thought Mac Jones was overshadowed. Unfortunately, he had a tremendous first half, particularly overshadowed by what KJ Costello and Kyle Trask did on Saturday.
During, the entire spring and summer lead up to the season, we were talking about Mississippi State, and you and I would kind of be like, you know what? Until we see it, we don't really know what it's going to look like. And we didn't really have a strong view one way or the other. Now that we obviously know with the 623 yards and you go back and you watch that game, is that more about who Mississippi State can be in the SEC, or was it some of the things we talked about on Monday, LSU and their defense trying to play man, playing press coverage, not getting hands on receivers, or a combination of both?
I thought it was a little bit of both, really, in all honesty. It was funny listening to Coach Chizik in the studio on Saturday. basically, kind of shocked by, like, man, they're running the same stuff in the red zone that they ran when Mike Leach was at Texas Tech and I was the defense coordinator at Texas. Like, nothing, they didn't do anything that was all that fancy, right? I mean, shallow crosses, vertical routes, hit Kylan Hill on the wheel route. This is nothing that's new. What they do really well, and I think what Florida does well, is that they do what they do. It's not a wide variety of things. Florida went back to the same play, according to Jordan Rodgers, 9 or 10 different times. But these teams are able to do it from different personnel groupings. They're able to do it out of different formations and utilizing some of the window dressing with motions and shifts. Like, I thought they did a good job of doing what they do and doing it very well. But it wasn't anything revolutionary that they were doing. I think the combination of them executing at a high level and LSU, particularly the secondary, not executing at a high level. I mean, I can't tell you how many times one-on-one you saw guys not play the ball very well. And that's the one thing that we know from Stingley, is that when the ball's in the air, he finds a way to get his head around and plays it well. So having him out was certainly hurtful. But let's be honest. I mean, I said it on our show the other day, and you guys probably don't want to hear this, but I think this is actually the best thing that could have happened for this LSU team. To bear the burden, to bear the pressure of the winning streak from last year, the expectation from coming off a national championship. It's not really fair to a lot of these young guys that are getting thrown into the mix. So now the pressure comes off, and maybe people are under appreciating what this team has the capability to do. But there's definitely some work to be done. But we all know that there's a lot of talent that's on this roster, and these guys, sometimes the most painful lessons are the ones that you benefit from in the long run.
Chris Doering is our guest. Chris, do you feel like Bo Pelini maybe felt his hands were tied with Stingley out? They were playing one player that had been out of practice for 2 weeks. They were playing another player that's been on the team for just a few weeks. They were playing another player at a position he had not practiced in the 2-week lead up to the game. Do you look at something like that and go, man, listen, if I give him something else to do, I'm really looking at some breakdowns?
Maybe. I mean, but at some point you got to try to do something different. And as Hester said on our show yesterday, man, they played a ton of man coverage. Like, if I'm worried about, my guys, and I may be playing a little more conservative zone, or at least mixing a little of that in. Hester, I ran through the film pretty briefly yesterday, but looking at it on the plane, it was interesting to see LSU, going with the three down linemen, having a bunch of guys walking around, which, I thought Mississippi State's offensive line handled pretty well, but they brought a lot of, 5- and 6-man pressures and didn't really get home an awful lot. And more times than not, you had guys lined up in man coverage that were getting beat, and so I would have at least thought you might want to adjust and try something different, even if you were shorthanded with having your hands tied, as you kind of said. It didn't seem like going back and putting them in position to play that much man and bringing those pressures was maybe the best thing to do in hindsight.
CD, I want to get your opinion on how you thought Miles Brennan played on Saturday.
It's tough to tell, man. It's so unfair. Like, in my mind, all I'm seeing is number 9, and how easy he made it look, and I think that Roman made the comment on our show on Saturday night, like when Miles Brennan went to scramble and came up short on a run, you're thinking, well, yeah, Joe Burrow probably would have gotten that, So the comparisons are going to be brutal for him this year. I thought he made some good plays at times. I think at other times he didn't necessarily look as smooth. But I do think that they have to figure out how to build this offense around what Miles Brennan does well, and it may take a little bit of an acclimation period for the coaches to figure that out. Without the benefit of having spring practice, you're trying to figure it out on the fly and trying to figure out, who are the guys going to be that we're going to be able to rely on. You can practice as much as you want, but until you get in the game and the bullets are flying, you really don't necessarily know how guys are going to react. And we know that there was a lot of void, a lot of holes to fill on both sides of the ball. I'm sure that going back and looking at the tape, they got a better idea at this point who they can trust and maybe who they don't necessarily trust as much.
Chris, we were playing SEC True or False last segment, and I stumped Hester right in his tracks. I asked him true or false, the Gators of Florida are the best team in the SEC after 1 week, and boy, he stopped. He had to think about it. Do you think that they are right now?
I say false. As much as I'd love to say true, the defense has some issues. Obviously, Lane Kiffin's offense putting up 613 yards is cause for concern. Now, Florida was shorthanded. Jeremiah Moon was out, reportedly having a positive COVID test, or at least being quarantined. Kyrie Campbell, at this point, there's rumors of whether he's not even on the team anymore. Losing Sean Davis early in the game with a disqualification because targeting was tough, and there was another safety that they were down as well. So I want to see them more at full strength and see, but there was a lot of talent they lost on that defensive line last year. So trying to fill those holes is going to be a little bit challenging. But I think Florida will get better from that. I'm sure that Todd Grantham had a rough Saturday night trying to figure out what went wrong. But that offense, I said it the other day. It's again a lofty comparison, but there are pieces of what I saw from Florida and the dynamic heading into the season that reminded me about the jump that LSU made from 2018 to 2019. That experience that Kyle Trask gained last year as the starter in this offense, the number of weapons that are around him, the improvement on the offensive line. There are things that are very similar, and I'm not saying that Florida can do it. I'm not saying that they necessarily are even going to get into the college football playoffs, but I do think they look really comfortable in their offense and understanding who they are. I think the defense has to improve a lot, but when you're comparing them to what Alabama did, Alabama to me looked exactly like Alabama has the last couple years with Tua Tagovailoa at the quarterback spot. Mac Jones did a great job. He was kept upright most of the entire night, found those dangerous weapons, and Jalen Waddle's been a guy that I was excited about kind of having a chance to grow into being a number 1 or number 2 type receiver in this offense, and he certainly delivered. So I think Alabama's the more complete team right now, but Florida has some real potential if they can get things figured out on the defensive side.
CD, last one for me, and Florida, in my opinion, of them, we've already talked about that so many times. I think they're the best team in the East. A lot of people think it is the Georgia Bulldogs. I did not see that on Saturday, and if they come out and they play anything close to what they did last weekend against the Auburn Tigers, they could be in trouble.
Yeah, they don't have the luxury this week of starting slow, and we talked about the fact that this 10-game conference only schedule didn't allow you to have the acclimation game that you usually have, but Arkansas was as close to that as you possibly could have. We knew their offense wasn't going to be good enough to score the necessary points to beat Georgia. You thought you might be able to figure out some things about that Georgia offense, but I know less about the Georgia offense than I did heading into the game. I don't even know at this point who the quarterback's going to be. Kirby Smart's been very coy about what that means and even where that quarterback competition is. If it really is a quarterback competition this late into the season, that leads me to believe that there's a lot of mediocre play amongst the guys vying for that spot. But kudos to Stetson Bennett. Coming in and being able to even the ship a little bit and being able to lead them to a victory. It was necessary. I have a hard time believing that Dwan Mathis would get the start over Stetson Bennett, but I truly have to believe, based upon comments that Kirby made on Friday, that they've already decided who the starting quarterback is. That job has been settled, and that quarterback was unavailable last week. Well, the news now is that JT Daniels is available, and I fully expect him to be the guy that's the starter, because you can't convince me that Dwan Mathis won that job in practice the way that he looked on Saturday in the first half.
Chris, if you've got those questions about the Georgia offense because they didn't have their guy, what questions do you have about the A&M offense because they did have their guy and didn't look real good doing it?
I'm so sick of being sold the same story every year about how much better the offense is going to be at Texas A&M and how much better Kellen Mond has gotten. To me, it's the same offense, it's the same quarterback, a guy that is inconsistent, that makes some great plays, and then at other times makes mistakes. Putting the ball on the ground like he did, the overall performance was sloppy. They're fortunate that they played against a team that has very limited offensive firepower in Vanderbilt. But I will say this, I was impressed with Ken Seals, man. I would have loved to have seen Ken Seals at the quarterback spot having the trio that they had last year with the improvement on the offensive line. And I thought Ted Roof's defense did a good job. Vanderbilt actually, they may end up being 0-10 still, but it'll be a much more competitive 0-10 than I think we thought it was when the SEC-only schedule was released.
Just what everybody wants to hear. A better-looking 0-10 record, CD.
Yeah, nothing like moral victories in the SEC. I know we all love those moral victories.
Yeah.
Chris, appreciate it. Have a good week, and we'll talk to you next Tuesday.
Yeah, sounds good, guys. Thanks. Bye-bye.
We'll take a break. Twins have taken a 1-0 lead on the Astros. That game in the bottom of the third inning, the first of the Major League Baseball playoffs. Take a break. Be back on the other side. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you by Richards Honda every single day. We always direct you to richardshonda.com where you can do it all. We've been telling you over the last couple of weeks about the buy from home option. It's right there in the top left corner of the website. It's a 7-step process. Once you click on the buy from home, you select your vehicle, then you unlock your lowest price and payments. They're going to need some more information in that third step. Then they're going to send you a virtual garage key code. Then you get into your virtual garage. You're going to have multiple options to kind of explore, maybe, change out some of the options depending on what you're looking for. And then you schedule that delivery or pickup. It's incredibly easy for you, the customer. Of course, you can always go see them at 13413 Millerville Greens Boulevard in Baton Rouge. That's I-12 and Millerville. With over 700 new and pre-owned vehicles on the lot, they are ready and waiting on you. You're going to find something you love: car, truck, midsize, full-size SUV, van, hybrid. They've got it all over at Richards Honda. That's why it's home of the warm and fuzzy feeling.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but 2 NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Join us for a Tuesday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. We're live from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street from 6 to 8 p.m. Come eat some steaks with us and say hello or listen here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We are brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Notre Dame going back to practice tomorrow after 18 positive tests on Monday, but they're changing things up. They traced where this came from. Back
weird, yeah.
You wanted to be gross about it. You can kind of You can kind of describe what happened here, but not in too much detail. Basically, somebody went to the pregame meal and threw up.
Yeah, so they've been eating every meal separately. They had not yet had a meal since they've come back together to get ready for the 2020 football season. Head coach Brian Kelly said it was more of a grab-and-go situation. They would have food available to them, but they didn't want them sitting in a dining hall all together, obviously, just, with the potential spread of the virus. And so this was the first time that they did it. And they say, hey, we can trace this back to that pregame meal. And they obviously, as you read the story on ESPN.com, it kind of breaks it down. They had a vomiting player on the sideline, and they try to trace it back to that instance. So they're no longer going to have pregame meals. They're going to keep it the same after those 18 positive tests. And Notre Dame's had some struggles with coming back to school on their campus with their football team as far as their testing numbers. And so, I mean, maybe more than any contender, I think they've had more struggles.
I don't know quite what to make of this. It's just another in the list of things that can possibly go sideways, and you have to respond to them as they go. You can't account in the protocols for every single situation. So this guy got sick from something else, I guess, and you can spread it that way. There's a lot of viruses you can spread that way. I mean, have you ever seen when? This is not the most appealing thought either, but you get one staph infection in the locker room. Man, they go in with the fire hoses after that to sterilize that thing in the old days. I mean, if you've never seen a high school football coach with a bucket of Clorox, a brush, and a garden hose in his locker room, then you probably didn't play high school football in the 80s, because I know you see a coach with his rubber boots on and his hose and his brush and his Clorox bucket, and you're like, oh, somebody had some kind of infection in the locker room. So, look, they're doing what they can. There's going to be some hiccups.
No question, and we're paying attention to the COVID part of this because pregame meal is just a ritual that you have all the way from high school until you finish your football career, even if you go all the way to the pros. And now they're going to go to a convention center with a ballroom type setting, so they can have every single player 6 feet away from each other with no face-to-face contact. So yet again, they're having to change something, and so we want to obviously make light of that. But there's a football angle to this. This is a team that started out 2-0, looked like they were pretty high-powered. Inbook coming back for yet another season, and they were the only team that could contend in the ACC with Clemson. There's no other teams in my opinion. North Carolina, good team, not ready to be a great team just yet. So Notre Dame was going to be that one team that could possibly challenge Clemson in the ACC. And now you've missed a couple of weeks. Yeah, you've got the same parts in place. Inbook, longtime quarterback, Kelly, same coach. But what effects will that have, missing multiple weeks and multiple games?
I'm ready to buy in a little bit on Miami. If Miami and Notre Dame were playing this week at a neutral site, I'd call that game a dead pick. I've seen enough from Miami to think that I don't think they can beat Clemson. Okay, but I am ready to say that they could probably be the second best team in the.
And remember,
ACC.
We don't get that game this year either.
Right, exactly.
Notre Dame, Miami.
I buy in enough on Miami to think that they've got a chance. I saw Notre Dame against South Florida. I did not see their game against Duke. They clearly had South Florida outmatched. So I don't know how much I learned from that game. Book played very well, but they just completely mopped the field with South Florida. But I've seen Miami play now 3 different times, and that offense is potent. Derek King is a handful, and he's a true dual threat. He can beat you, he can knock you out with either hand. I've seen it in 2 different games now. So they, I think, have got a legitimate chance to be the next best team in the ACC. I still don't think they can beat Clemson, but I don't think they'd be completely overrun either if they played Clemson.
I'm going to hold judgment on Miami, not because of how strong my take was earlier in the season, but because
you were talking about program, though. You weren't talking about
not this
team.
Season, not a one-off season, but just you've played UAB, nice team, not a great team, obviously. You played Louisville, they lose the next week to Pitt, and then you put up some yards against Florida State, who I think the 7-year-old flag Irish team would have a shot against. So we'll see. I do think Miami is light years ahead of where I thought they would be. I think Miami has a real opportunity with a grad transfer at quarterback. Obviously, at LSU, we know what that can do for you. You can catch lightning in a bottle, and you can, have these high-powered offenses to put up big numbers. So the jury's still out for me, but at least there's something, Hanny. At least there is something in the ACC that has a pulse, and they're not named the Clemson Tigers. There is other teams that we can sit here and say, you know what, hey, let's see how that plays out on the field. Is Clemson still the best team? Yeah, you bet. But at least now they could possibly have some competition.
And Miami gets 2 weeks to prepare for them. Clemson's got to play Virginia this weekend. So if you buy into those, the extra week of preparation. You asked me a question.
Hated that as a player.
You asked me a question during the break about how LSU fans would watch not just LSU Vandy this weekend, but how they would watch Mississippi State and Arkansas.
So if you're an LSU fan, okay, and I said it earlier in the show, you're playing Vandy. Is there anything that they can do against Vanderbilt, or let's even throw it next week against Missouri, that's going to make you feel better about what happened in Tiger Stadium against Mississippi State? And also, how much you are going to be paying attention to what Mississippi State is doing against the likes of Arkansas? Like, is there anything that if they go out there and they only throw for 390 yards, is that going to leave a bad taste in your mouth? How are you going to view LSU and who they've already lost to in Mississippi State?
I'm going to view it probably different than a lot of fans because I want to see what they look like when they've got their guys back. Okay, that matters a little bit more to me. But if you're a fan, the Joe Average fan, probably there's not much you can do until they play Florida, because you're not going to give them any credit for a win over Vanderbilt. Now, I want to see how it looks when everybody's playing where they're supposed to play. Gives me a little bit better of a read on what they're supposed to look like.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're asking me, is Joe Average fan going to give them any credit for beating Vanderbilt in Missouri? No. And the only thing you can get,
not even credit though, Hanny, but almost when you see it, you feel better about it.
Yeah. Last year was a similar situation when they played Texas. If they had lost to Texas, then you had a game against Utah State, you had a game against Northwestern, and then it was going to be 3 weeks to Florida. And I remember saying,
Vandy.
and Vandy.
Yeah.
I remember saying to Jimmy on the show, I said, if they lose this game, it's going to be a month's worth of misery because they can't make it up at Vandy. They can't make it up against Utah State or Northwestern. And I feel the same way. And, of course, they won the game, so you don't have to worry about that. But this is the same thing. They're not going to be able to validate themselves in the eyes of a lot of people until they play Florida. And the only thing you're going to get on the other side is an as expected. Mississippi State better go out and throw for 500 yards against Arkansas. Are you going to say, man, were you really that bad? I do want to see, though, them with the proper personnel to get some guys back. I think that some of the play calling will be a little bit different.
Exactly.
And you hope that
adjustments
you can make a lot more headway on the offensive side of the ball in the minds of the fans, because Vandy at least had a pretty good defensive game against Texas A&M
on the road.
And it's a lot easier, I think, to pick out things on offense for just the casual observer. You can tell if Miles Brennan's getting rid of the ball quicker. You can tell if they're in better down and distance situations. You can tell if they're not misconnecting on some of these things. It's a lot easier to try and read. So, but no, it'll be 2 weeks worth of you guys stunk against Mississippi State. So it's the nature of the business.
That was taking it back to my playing days. That was like when we lost to Arkansas in 2007. The best possible thing for us was we had an SEC championship game the next week to look forward to, because that feeling of disappointment, losing to an unranked team in Tiger Stadium, giving up all of those yards, all those type of things, right? It's like, man, that left a bad taste in your mouth. Oh, thank God we can go win the SEC the next week, right?
Yeah.
You don't have that opportunity. It can be a slippery slope, and you can allow it to creep in and not be as enthusiastic as you should be about the opponents coming up.
Well, let me back it up 2 years, though, on you, because you were on the 05 team as well. That team handled it pretty well. Disappointing loss in the SEC championship game for a team that was exhausted. If I remember right, it played 10 consecutive weeks. It was a hurricane year. But with the ability to rest, came out and demolished Miami in the bowl game.
Yeah, I mean, we had something to play for. It was a top 10 matchup in the Peach Bowl, and at that time, obviously, the Peach Bowl wasn't a play-in game into the CFP or potentially a championship game in itself, but still we were like, hey, we're getting a top 10 Miami team, so we had some some motivation there. I think the bigger one you could point to is losing to Tennessee at home like we did. The disappointment of that in that 2005 season, knowing you had the game, you gave it away, you lost in overtime, and then kind of running the table.
Went to State the next week, an early game, I think.
I think so.
The week after Tennessee. It was a short week because it was a Monday night game. Yeah. We'll take a break, come back. Ask Us is next in the Bayou Ford chat on YouTube. This is Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're glad to be brought to you by the Tiger Athletic Foundation. As a former LSU student athlete, I can tell you that your Tigers give 110% each day. Also, I always tell you the things that TAF gives you, you are able to go out there and succeed. They're not only committed to making you go out there and win on the football field, but in the classroom as well, which is very important. LSU Athletics is one of the very few programs in the nation who has remained self-sufficient in its operations. But as we all know, this year is challenging for everyone. There's adversity all over the place. Due to the restrictions around COVID-19, the loss of essential revenue to LSU Athletics will be in the tens of millions of dollars. This is a good time to remind ourselves that we're all Tigers and our go never stops. LSU and the Tiger Athletic Foundation is urging everyone to donate to the Victory Fund to help keep LSU student athletes going. The Victory Fund will provide financial support for the most critical areas of need, including scholarships, healthcare, and academic support for student athletes. Your support is critical to the future of LSU athletics. To learn more information and to donate, you can visit victory.lsutaf.org.
Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester and Hanny. After further review and more are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat driven by Bayou Ford.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Do you know someone who sets a good example for all of us to follow? Someone who shows leadership, selflessness, and service to their community without being asked? We think that's the definition of a good citizen, and so does Citizens Bank and Trust. If you know someone who exhibits all of these qualifications, nominate them for a Good Citizen Award, and they could receive $500 from Citizens Bank. And we'll recognize them here on the show. Get the details at citizensbankandtrust.com, and then nominate your good citizen.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Rohan Davey stops by for his weekly chat to talk LSU. Larry Holder talks some Saints with us, and Fines Walk talks beer. 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Final segment is Ask Us in the Bayou Ford chat. Craig says, ask us, does Paul get an extension on his contract for choosing the photo of Gordy he posted on the video screen during his interview? All right, Paul. The picture that you showed looked like it had been kind of superimposed a little bit on that thing. It was at an angle that looked like his forehead was about to come out of the picture. So where'd you get that from?
It was already in the system when I got here.
So we're going to blame somebody else. It's well done. That's very, very smart. Ask us, are the bats on the desk in case Moscona gets mouthy when he comes in? Those are your bats. The bats predate me.
Yeah, so they actually, when I started the show, we had the bats lined up because, they had this big desk and nobody really put anything on the desk. And I was, talking with Marucci and, I was like, hey, SVP, and I stole it. It wasn't like it was my idea. I was like, SVP's got a sweet Marucci bat. I want a Marucci bat. So they made me the pine-colored one here, and then Cal Orso, who's the best in the business, is like, hey, let's get you a blue bat for Richard's Honda. I said, let's do it. So that's why we have two bats up here.
Very good. Raynard says, ask Hanny, do we have to work the problem? Apollo 13 is a great film. Great film. That's all I'm going to say. Ask us, is Jake getting beard growing tips from Flynn?
Matt Flynn? No, my beard's so much better than his. Y'all know me. Look, I don't clean shave. I don't get the razor out. Paul O'Neill's got a fantastic beard as well. Thankfully, I have a job that I don't really have to be well groomed. I don't have to have be fresh shaven every day. I mean, Playboy Mart. Sorry, you've got a great beard as well. I apologize. He was getting hurt over there. Great beard. Okay, so probably tomorrow you'll see it closer to the skin, but not all the way to the skin because it's starting to itch, Hanny.
Yeah.
Starting to get to that point, and I usually get here about 2 weeks where it really starts to itch. By the way, Island Hanny had a beard. You need to bring it back.
It did not look good. It did not look. There's only one vote on the Island Hanny beard, and it belongs to Tracy, and she had big thumbs down. So
let me talk with you, Tracy.
Okay. All right.
Please.
You do that. Let's see. Ask us, is a 2-quarterback system for LSU realistic if Vandy and Missouri go the way that this past game did? I'm going to say no.
I hate 2-quarterback systems.
I'm going to say no.
They worked for Spurrier for a time, but I feel like that was really that's a one-off.
I'm going to say no.
I don't think we're not there yet.
No, we're not even close to there. Again, they've got an enormous amount of time invested in Miles Brennan. They're going to try to coach up the things that he didn't do well on Saturday. Ask us, will NFL games that are canceled due to COVID be considered a tie? They haven't said that. They're going to try to replay games that are postponed. That's the first option. That's what they want to do. That may not be possible. I think if it's going to come into the tiebreaker situation, they'll make a call that is going to be similar to what they did in Major League Baseball, which is going to go to winning percentage.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have enough weeks to make up the games, I don't know what else you do that's even remotely fair.
I think winning percentage is the way they will go.
Let's see. Ask us, Mississippi State or LSU, which team had the most talent?
I still think LSU. The receivers at Mississippi State set their career totals in that one game. That was a very inexperienced group that came in. Again, I don't think it was complex what they were doing. Simple routes. It's just they were better on those plays, and you didn't make the adjustments not only with the scheme but the technique as well.
Yeah, I think from 1 to what are they sitting at, about 72 scholarship players or whatever it is right now. 1 to 72, LSU's got better personnel.
Now, Colin Hill can play for any team in the country. There's a couple of guys.
Mississippi State was better at quarterback. Their coaches had a better game plan, and it was a bad matchup once Stingley went out.
Yeah,
I'll say all three of those things. Ask us, you got to love that I leave for class at 1:30, come back, and Hanagriff's put on a sweater. It's freezing in here. I'm sorry. It just is.
That's why I come prepared. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. You came prepared, Tim. It was in the closet.
I have, I'm now keeping 3 sweatshirts in the closet. Okay, one of them is I'll put on if I'm very cold. I'll take another one and put it in my lap. Okay, Okay, I'm not joking. And then I've got a third one, which is a lighter one in case
I wear
it's
pants
not
every
that
day
cold.
anyway, so that's not the biggest deal to me.
Right.
Even in like July.
Yeah, it's freezing. Ask us, what do you guys do after the show is over? Do you have things to do at the station, or you go home and relax and unwind?
I cut promos. I do the promo for this show for the next day. I cut the NFL promos for the week and any kind of advertising spots that I have to do, and anything for the SEC show that I have to do, I'll cut that as well.
It depends on the day for me. A day like today, I don't have anything after the show today, but tomorrow I've got another show to come back and do tomorrow night. Thursday, I've got another show to come back and do Thursday night. So there are days, and then Monday was a double show, so we had some things. We had meetings on Monday morning. So it depends on the day.
I've got the Irish flag football practice tonight too. We got some things we got to fix, adjustments, if you will.
Ask us, did Gordy get sunburned in his box? No, but I understand that they got a very attractive picture of him sitting with his back up against the fence. Who was responsible for that? I think, Josh, were you responsible for that? Taking the picture and posting it?
There was one that I sent you during the game that said the loneliest man in Tiger Stadium.
He was standing by himself, but apparently at one point he sat down with his back up against that chain link fence on the side, and that got around on social media, so I don't know. Ask us, what other kind of swag do you need for your desk? There is not room on my desk at home, in my office at my home. There's not room for literally another piece of anything on that desk.
Oh, now don't listen to him for this desk. Though. We always have room for stuff, and I love making Moscona pick up even more stuff when he comes in. It's the first thing he does, and the more we add, the more work he has to do. So yeah, look, we got room. See this real estate right here? We've got some room. So all this, outside of a couple of things, are actually things that have been sent to us to put on the desk.
Yeah. Ask us, who's the greatest Major League Baseball player of all time?
You answer that first. I'm thinking.
Well, the common answer is Babe Ruth, but
in the common day, man, you just don't know.
Look,
it's going to end up being Mike Trout, possibly. Goodness.
I'm going to say Hank Aaron most days because the guy hit 755 home runs.
Run king,
and
baby.
the guy drove in 2,200 runs. Okay, so most days I'm going to say, in the modern day, I'm going to say Hank Aaron.
I can go with that.
Ask us, when LSU goes 9-1, are we all going to look back at this week and laugh? I don't think this week's ever going to make anybody laugh, but I also don't think that LSU's going 9-1.
We talked about it during the break. Are they going to pull the Ohio State, lose to Virginia Tech, and run the table?
Right.
We don't know that.
What else we got? That's it. We got time to spin? Nope.
Yeah, I got time to spin the wheel a couple times. A little rapid fire here. Here we go, Hanny. Rich friend or loyal friend?
Loyal friend.
Football or basketball?
Football.
Work hard or play hard?
Both.
Jogging or hiking?
Neither.
Bath or shower?
Shower.
Sneakers or sandals?
Sneakers.
Hamburger or taco?
Hamburger.
Couch or recliner?
Couch.
Passenger or driver?
Driver.
Email or letter?
Email.
Tablet or computer?
Computer.
Blue or red? This is important.
Yeah.
Blue or red?
Blue.
Yeah, Liverpool, take that.
From all of us here in studio.
Phillies, take that.
Have a great afternoon. Stay tuned for AFR 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in